Yes, people, and welcome back to Spurs Kings TV and welcome to our weekly show, Rivals. Please make sure you do all that good stuff by liking, sharing, and subscribing. As always, it helps the channel out massively. Tell a friend to tell a friend, tell your sister, your mister, your auntie, your side piece, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I've got a few guests, a few debuts on today. I'm going to bring out some of my locals. And how you doing, my brother? Jinx, live in the building. How you doing?
Losing calories as we speak, bro.
Jeez.
This
I've
is
got to
crazy.
talk right now. Stay hydrated, bro.
I didn't know I looked so moist. This is ridiculous.
Say no, David. Man,
Yeah.
crazy. What's been going on though?
Nothing much, It's been rather quiet. We signed Calamari. Yeah, that's about it.
There's some news still for Arsenal, but we'll get into it. We'll get into it, man. Big up as well, man. I see the chat inside. Big up everyone. Just a harmless potato. I see
Big up.
you as well joining in. I want to big up Gokes. How you doing, my friend? How's things? Long time, man. For a minute. Everything all right at home?
It's been a hot minute, man. It's been a hot minute, but I've been watching from the sidelines, and I thought, it's time for me to make a reappearance.
Cool. Repping Liverpool, we've got Arsenal in the building. It's time we brought on a Newcastle fan as well, man. Toon. You say it's a bit hot. I used to see it at the house.
I was sweating, guys. Just for anybody who can't see, got Two Tactics. It's Two Tactics TV at the back because I couldn't wear it on my head anymore. I was just sweating too much. I'm not looking like chinks right now. All the lights can just be wiped off my face right now. But anyway, so good to be here. Always a blessing and a privilege to be on Spurs Kings TV with the panel, with the chat, talking football, bantering, but overall great quality for all here. Always a pleasure to be here.
Nice. We also have here as well, first timer. Kule.
Oh yeah, now my people. It's your dark-skinned man from the motherland. If you didn't know before, tonight you go understand. And your guy from the motherland is in UK now. I'm here chilling for a couple of weeks, and everybody should be appreciative of me today because I brought the heat from the motherland to the UK. You are welcome. You're all welcome. Big up the panel. Big up the chat.
Big up Kule. Kule, who you repping, man? We need to know, man, just to let the audience know what you're about.
Come on, man. Big up Jacob in the chat. I see you, bro. Repping Arsenal each and every time, man.
I was going to say Leeds.
Leeds? Why Leeds?
No respect.
Someone he could talk trash to in it, Leeds, innit? Oh, sorry, bro.
Hey, the boy is sharp now. He's sharp.
Now, my friend. Also, welcome to the channel. We have Mr. Dan. How you doing, my bro?
Yeah, pleasure having me on, Ash. It's we've run a few shows together, haven't we, over on some other channels? So yeah, good to be on this one. I'm a Chelsea fan, first and foremost. Let's get it out there on a Spurs channel. I feel like I'm a little bit more realistic than some of the others floating about on the internet. So hopefully I won't ruffle too many feathers for you Spurs guys.
And that's good timing because we've got a friend of mine, and he goes by the name of Deji Spurs. How you doing, my broski?
Bro, I'm good. The fact that I see two Arsenal fans on the panel means it's going to be nothing but war. Kunle knows what time it is. Kunle, I know where you live. I will come for you, drag you your neck.
You are nervous already. Why are you shaking from side to side already, bro? Relax.
Bro, I've just had enough of you Arsenal fans. You guys make me sick, and I just want to just get on with it. You get me? At the end of the day, you man are shaking your bum because you've had more fans attend your match in the US than United fans. Let's all clap for Arsenal. More Arsenal fans, more American Arsenal fans turned up to the game.
Please share your achievements so we can all celebrate you for something.
Boy is sharp now. Oh, your boy is sharp. Boy is sharp.
This is a moonwalk, and you man are already singing. Well, we've been in the right.
He turned his hat backwards. He's ready for one. I understand. Let's go.
Ready.
Hey, listen.
Timo weren't ready, man.
Hey, you ain't gonna do all of that, man. Hey.
Does Calamari
bare blanks firing everywhere, bro.
Does Calamari
He starts for you.
No, does he start for you?
How about that?
Calamari.
He starts for you, innit? It starts for you.
Does Calamari start for you, man?
You see that video there?
First of all, I don't know any player called Calamari, but if you're talking about our new signing that a lot of teams wanted, Calafiori, yeah, he starts as a left.
All right, cool, no problem.
Let's
get into it. Let's get into
it. We've got options, innit? NSG thing, we've got options, bro. Right. Timber, Tomiyasu. What do you need, innit?
Okay, all right.
Is Timber staying?
Oh shit!
What about you? When did you?
Bro, is
Timber staying? Is that a real question?
Is Timber staying? I'm just asking for a friend. I just said that.
Do you mean Timber or Tomiyasu?
No, it's Timber staying.
He ain't even. He's played like 3 games.
Timber, he's not even. He played like 6 minutes for us, bro. Why would he be leaving?
I think he's saying the metatarsal thing. Not the metatarsal. The knee, the ACL, the MCL, the knee injury. I don't know what it is.
Please don't wish anything upon my player, I beg. We have a new signing. He's called Urian Timber. He starts officially this season. Watch out.
Okay. Cool. But before we
signing too, his name's Tonali.
Tonali? Boy.
Just saying.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's one of them just saying, but
before we go on.
I was trying to help you, but there was just bare silence.
Yeah, it was off.
Big up everyone though, man.
Go on, Ash.
Ash, you there?
Technical difficulties.
Ash. I'm lost in the war.
What's going on, bro? You're rapping in the headlights, bro.
He was just verifying.
Bro. Let's go.
He was verifying. He was sending tweets. He's doing promo.
I don't know if am I lagging?
No, you hear Ash. How many fingers?
Nah, you just weren't saying anything.
I'm not.
Blink twice if you're okay, bro.
Bro, can you hear me? Can you see me?
Yeah, we can see and hear you, man.
Can you hear me though?
Yeah, we can hear you too.
Yeah, now we can.
I can hear Deji talking.
You're way delayed.
Oh, I'm mad. Oh,
that was 5 minutes ago.
What's going on?
Quick question. Oh, this sounds man. I could just hear bare voices in my ear. Who has the better squad? Panel, Chelsea or Spurs? I just want to know. I'm gonna log on and log off. I'll answer the question. I just want to know. Chat as well. Chelsea or Spurs?
Squad.
Squad.
Chelsea.
Should the rivals go first, or should the Chelsea or Spurs fans go first? Like, you lot.
Who's got the better squad, Tottenham or Chelsea?
Go on, Dej. I know you want to say something.
I don't like the question.
Wow.
So I'm gonna reframe it. I think who has the most balanced squad?
Nah. Actually, I asked the specific question, bro. You can't twist it, bro. Who has the best squad?
The truth of the matter is, for me, is the lazy report.
Shut down. Jeez. All right, cool. Mad.
Yeah, well done though, because Deji was about to start spouting nonsense anyway. Perfect timing.
Saved by the bell, man. We'll talk.
I started hearing who's got the balance squad.
Let's start again, man.
Let me say my piece.
Go on, Deji.
Ash, ask the question again so Deji gets what he's answering, because he was taking us in a lot of places.
Toon knows me for this, and I appreciate Toon as well. What we ain't gonna do on this channel tonight is give lazy answers. We need thoughtful and answers that make sense. So for me, the easy thing to say would be that Chelsea have better individual players on paper. But
surely that makes the squad better.
Really and truly, Tottenham finished above Chelsea in the league last season. And looking at the quality of player that we've been bringing through over the summer, even from the academy stepping in to the first team doing bits.
Such as who?
With confidence that Tottenham has a better squad than Chelsea. The only thing is,
who are these players? Who are these players that you've introduced?
Can I just say something to you, Kunle? Once upon a time,
no, I'm just asking who are these players that you introduced?
Once upon a time, it was who was Saka. Once upon a time, it was who was Martinelli, and then they were allowed to play and show us that they could
For
do
sure.
something, or at least compete.
So who are your
We've got the
who's?
likes
Who are
of
they?
Val, we've got the likes of Archie Gray, we've got the likes of Mikey Moore coming through. And what I've seen, even from what I've seen of them today,
Eminem and that, yeah.
these man are these man can kick ball, bro. These, you know, like who's that Crystal Palace player that came into the scene? Is it Warburton or whatever his name is? Wharton, sorry. Or what I get Warburton.
You're talking about bread.
When
Nonsense.
Adam Wharton came on, we all clapped for him. I said, you know what? This youth, he's come from the academy, but this youth can play ball. That's what Tottenham have. They have these young guns who is coming into the first team and they can kick ball. I can tell you with chest that Tottenham will finish above Chelsea this season. I've already bet on £200.
Oh, speaking of bets, hey, there you go. Speaking of bets,
you know, look, for me, Tottenham all day long. It would be lazy of any one of the panel to be saying that Chelsea has a better squad than Tottenham. And that's my answer.
Just so we're clear on the panel, because I want Dan to respond definitely, because he's the rightful person to respond to what Deji just said. But just so we're clear, because of Warburton, Archie or something, and some other guy that we don't know about, because of them, because of those guys being graduated into the squad this summer, that kind of tips Spurs over Chelsea. Is that where we are?
Not to forget, Kunle, that this potentially hasn't been delivered on yet. By the way, we're just saying it's a hypothetical. So hypothetically, it means.
I'm just making sure we're on the same page. Is that what you're telling us? Okay, sorry, Werner. Werner.
Before Dan kicks off, right? Can I just ask a question? Why are we comparing the two? Because I see there's no comparison personally, but just out of pure curiosity, why have we compared those two?
You know what it is? I've heard a lot of Spurs fans come out. No. I've heard a lot of Spurs fans come out and say, like, there's no way Chelsea are a better team or a better squad than Spurs. Do you know what I mean? So that's the reason why I brought it up. I said, like, I want to know from a Chelsea perspective and also a rival fan perspective, who you guys think's better in terms of, obviously, we finished above Chelsea.
Yeah, so the answer of a better team is you lot, but better squad, I don't know about all that, man.
To me, I'll let Dan go. I'll go after Dan.
Yeah. Dan
out of courtesy.
So first of all, I can see why there's a bit of a comparison. I think last season we were relatively close in terms of where we finished in the season. Obviously, Tottenham finished a little bit further ahead than Chelsea, but fairly similar in terms of position. Not too drastically different like it was the previous season. Then I would also say that we spoke yesterday, I think it was, Deji, and Deji was telling me about how Spurs are starting to move for these younger prospects in the hope that they're there or thereabouts for sort of 26, 27, 28 seasons as we start to see maybe Man City and Pep sort of break up their relationship, and Spurs are kind of aiming to be the next club, right? Is that right? Yeah. Okay. So I think that's kind of Todd Boehly and Clear Lake Capital's approach as well, that we've kind of seen. When it comes to the squad, though, based on depth, Chelsea have 15 more players. According to Transfer Market, Tottenham have a 30-man squad. Chelsea have a 42-man squad with an addition to follow, I think, today or tomorrow in the goalkeeper and the defender. So if you're going on just depth, it's probably Chelsea. But I think when you look at some players in and around, I definitely don't think we have a player.
Hey, Dan, don't get political on us, Dan. Do not get political.
I'm just saying. I
just
think
on that,
who has the better squad?
Wait, before you come in, just on that, does that mean that you expect Chelsea to finish above Spurs
this season?
This season, yeah.
No.
That's what I want to know.
No, I don't think I've seen enough yet. Only 2 games in pre-season, and on the evidence of last season, that we would be able to jump those, say, 2 places to get above Spurs. I don't think I've seen enough yet.
Respect, my bro.
Go on,
sorry, go on, Gox.
No, Chinks, go on.
Yeah, I think we're being so long-winded about this. There's no comparison. Chelsea's squad is immensely better than the Spurs' squad. Respectfully, I know what platform I'm on. I understand that. But with a proper manager and some structure, Chelsea, in my view, should be going for top 2, top 3. If I think about some of the top players that are in the squad, so from people like Nkuku, who was injured, who in my view is a very, very good player. Lavia, who was injured, who Liverpool chased, who I think is a good player. Casado was well below par.
Fofana.
Sterling is a very good player, underperformed. You've got Vibes Cartel,
No
Palmer.
Madalena Clarks, yeah.
He's not more than the Clarks. You got Reece James, who's probably one of the best right backs in the league, who was injured all of last season. You got Gusto, who's a backup to Reece James, who's also quite decent. Like I'm a Liverpool supporter. I could go on and on and on. There's no comparison to the squad. I just want to keep it very short. And if we're going to say that, because of they finished in different positions. Look, man, there was a time when Liverpool had a defensive crisis and we finished 7th or 8th, and then the next season we were back where we were supposed to be. You can't just take things in isolation and all of a sudden the squad's not what the squad is. The squad is immense. It's just didn't have the right manager and didn't have the right structure.
So with that, do you think they have the right manager? And anyone could jump in, by the way. Does anyone think that this guy that's managed to get Leicester up to the Premiership, relatively new, hasn't got that much experience, do you think he has enough about him to get Chelsea where they need to be? That's my question.
Well, they're hoping that he's Arteta, like that.
That's what I'm saying.
They're hoping that he's Pep Light, right, which is what Arteta is, Pep Light, right? Diet Coke Pep. So that's what they're hoping, because he's come from that fraternity. So
double down.
Is he ready yet? I don't know. We'll see. But with the right manager, come on, man. These are quality players. I've just listed off 5 or 6, and I'm forgetting loads. So
you know what? On the back of what Goats is saying, I would say it shouldn't be any surprise to any Spurs fan that the answer is Chelsea have the better squad. Like, Chelsea has spent $1 billion on there, and that's on new players, not including the players that were there before the $1 billion spent over the last year. So naturally, they're going to have a better squad. But in terms of what Goats was saying, I think Chelsea are just a mess, man. There's so many different managers and organizations that have played a part in the squad. So it's just confusing. I think there's only a few managers that could even make it gel and get to the top 4. Personally, I don't see them seeing top 4 for the next 2 years, personally, but that's for a different stream. And I think only like an Ancelotti or maybe even a Unai Emery could fix the mess with what's going on at Chelsea. There's only a few that can deal with it, because there's a lot of problems there, and they don't want to admit it. Maresca, he's a championship manager going into a big, high-profile job. Chelsea FC is not Leicester. And someone in the chat said it. Their best signing so far is Dewsbury Hall.
You know what? To
that's the only man he can do with.
Niger, yeah, he's come from the Championship. Arteta came from putting out the cones for Pep. Do you know what I mean? So I think that's a bad narrative. True. One thing I will say though, yeah, towards the back end of the season, Chelsea got.
Oh, but wait, hold on, Chinks. When Arteta came in, did you expect him to finish top 4 though?
No, that's what I'm saying. So using that as a stick to beat Maresca with isn't fair, if you get what I mean.
Bro, you know.
No, but this is what I'm saying. The narrative for most of Chelsea fans, bar Dan, is that they're gonna push for top 4. And if that's not what the conversation is, then cool. Maresca has a chance of giving them some structure, giving them style of play. But if they're talking about breaking into the top 4 this season, I think that's not even a conversation right now.
Why do you say that? Because when you think about it, yeah, Spurs made top 4 and they finished the season terribly. And with one thing we've learned from Ange is he doesn't have a plan B. And the whole league's going to know what he's going to do more than they did last season. Maresca's kind of a mystery. So if he can kind of get a bit of form going, I don't know. Because we've all seen once Ange don't have his players, he's still going to 9 men up high line. Like, do you know what I mean?
Chinks, you're being nice.
My issue with Chelsea is there's too many ifs right now. Do you get me? It's not like they don't have quality in their squad. I'm not debating that. They've got loads of quality. Like those players at some of the top teams in the world, they'll do bits. But there's so much confusion. If Palmer can repeat what he did last season, is Lavia going to come back the player he was? Is Fofana going to be the guy he was before his injury? Can Sterling switch it on? What's happening with their striker? Is Maresca going to be able to? Like, there's too many ifs, bro. That's what I'm saying.
So many. But think about it though, yeah. Those are ifs, yeah. But one thing we do know. When Ange don't have his players, that style of play falls apart.
Yeah, but the I hear what you're saying, Chinks, but I think the difference with Ange is that last season, obviously, he was just coming in. He's had a season to be with the lads. And just like I mentioned to you before, you test and learn. One of the things that we learned towards the back end of the season was the fact that Van der Ven could be a plausible option for left wing. Do you get me? That is something we didn't know at the start of the season. But at the end of the season, or
Left back or left wing?
Left back.
I was lost. I was going to let you finish.
He was flying, but left back. So what I'm trying to say is, even during this pre-season, we are doing a lot of experimentation with the Archie Grays and these young guns. But I agree with Kunle, and there's not much that me and Kunle agree on. But I definitely agree with him on this. They've got the players, but Chelsea is a hot mess. It's a mismatch. And, in order to have a successful team, you need a mixture of flair players and some just workhorses. Some Ben Davis, some
Talking about workhorses, though, there's a rumor going around, and it stinks. Conor Gallagher is on his way to Atletico. However,
That's a great move for Simeone.
However, there's rumors that there may be a hijack from Spurs.
Fake news.
Hijack that, Ash. Hey, England international.
But two tactics ain't heard from me. So, what do you make of that whole hijack situation? Do you think that would be a good move for Spurs if they manage to get Conor Gallagher? Will that help with Ange's system and the profile play he wants? Or do you think he's just technically no good for Spurs?
I think it would be a good move for Spurs. I think.
He looks offended. Man looks highly offended.
We'll connecting the previous question around, and I'll answer this one as quickly as possible, is the scores between Chelsea and Tottenham. The problem with Chelsea is that they're like a massive $1 billion squad with about 3 or 4 or 5 different philosophies based on the managers that they've had. And the problem is, yes, on paper, some of these guys look good, but you don't even know what style Maresca's going to play. You can assume and do research about how he played with Leicester, but it might be, is he going to think to tweak it, transfer it onto the Premier League? Added to that, how is that going to change with how these players have been playing with Poch and which players are going to be in favour? So, for instance, the reason why perhaps Fernandes played better with Potter, because Potter had a bit more possession style football than Poch did. Poch would often have his midfielders try and transition the ball as quickly as possible from their third onto their forward. So he played a little bit better. Hence why when we moved on to Poch preferred Gallagher because he's a little bit more of an athletic type of player. Yes, he's not great with the ball, but he's got the athleticism and the ability to get the ball. So now moving on to Tottenham and Gallagher. The reason why Gallagher would be a decent signing for, and what Poch is looking for, at least we know what Ange is looking for. We know with Tottenham their style of play, overloading the centre of midfield with their midfielders, who essentially turn into cams, and trying to essentially suffocate the opposition through the centre, whilst also allowing the wing backs to get into play. Now he's had to tweak it a little bit because, as you know, Ashley's sometimes if you do that too quickly and you become too predictable, they just run out of ideas. They haven't got an idea of how to counter press, and teams like Newcastle figured out how to hit them on the break and that. But I think he can tweak it, he can change it. Hence why he's got Gallagher in the first place. So if you do get caught in the final third, if the ball doesn't break to you in the final third, you've got a man like Gallagher who can be decent when you're if the ball is going against you and if you're getting caught in the transitions. That'll be the main thing. He has to keep Gallagher. The only problem is he has to keep Gallagher away from the first third of the pitch. It's because he's not no Pirlo, he's not any of those guys. So exactly, but hence why you got Basuma, hence why you got Archie Gray and all those guys that can invert from right back and do that kind of build-up play from the beginning third. But I can see why he's got Gallagher.
Hey, just on that, guys, and anyone can answer. Dan, you can start off if you want. Just that whole, because I don't know your thoughts on this. I do know your thoughts, but I don't know your thoughts. like in terms of Poch, I've heard like a lot of Chelsea fans blaming him for the reason why Chelsea never worked out, and they got rid of him instantly. Now,
That's not why.
is it not why?
I heard rumors he wanted more control or something like that. It wasn't because he finished the season. He finished the season well, you know.
I mean,
Finished the season very well.
Dan, obviously you're inside. You're just Chelsea's your team. So, I mean, is it the degree of truth to what Chinks was saying? Did he want more control over transfers, and that's why they sacked him, or was it a thing where you just think he wasn't good enough for your team? He's a terrible coach. His tactics were awful, and you needed to move on and get rid of him.
So I think there was a mixture of both. I think starting the start of the season, probably 20, 25 games, I don't think Chelsea were good enough. There was a lot of mistakes on Pochettino's head. There were ridiculous results. There were misprofiling of players. It wasn't good. The way we finished, I think he figured a lot of stuff out. But I think in that time, the board had already probably lost their trust with him. And I think he then probably started to feel that he wasn't going to be backed in the transfer market with the type of players he wanted and the type of players he wanted to keep. There's no doubt about it. I think Conor Gallagher's right at the heart of this. I think he wanted to keep Conor Gallagher. He felt he was instrumental to his team, and the board were pushing for him to go. I think we're now seeing Trevor Chalobah being treated the way he is.
What do you think of that as well, Chalobah? Are you happy about that?
I think it's disgraceful. He's been at the club since he was like 8 years old. No matter whether you want the guy there or not, you don't treat someone like that. And he's worth more money playing on pre-season than he is sitting playing against like Barnet with the under-23s or whatever he did the other day. So you don't treat someone like that. And I think that says a lot about the people making decisions at the top of the club for me. They're no longer the same as what it was before, because there was a lot of respect for Cobham and the people that had come through, or Harlington before that. And I've got an issue with that completely. I just don't accept that. But yeah, with Poch, I think they felt like they got it wrong. I think the two parties misjudged each other at the beginning, or the relationship and how it was going to work wasn't discussed enough. We got misled in preseason, I think, with Poch's tactics. I think he was trying to be this modern technical coach. And then when the going got tough and all of a sudden he saw the squad was a little bit probably underwhelming at times, he went back to his old tactics and kind of relied on what he knew worked. And then obviously I think the board were like, that's not what we want. And I think they both just decided it wasn't going to work. I don't think it was a sacking based on results, because I think there were too many times in the season when the results were worse than when he left. So they wanted him gone as well.
Sorry to cut you, but go on after. Yeah. What's it called? I thought that they were going for a stylistic change. You know, that like not copy everyone else, but you know what's in fashion, follow fashion. And everyone wants to do this possession-based style of football. And I think, like, obviously Poch is not in that kind of mold. And they saw their chance when they fell out with a Conor Gallagher situation and said, "Oh, we're going to get rid of him." And then, you know, Poch was like, "What are you doing?" You know what I mean? And that was their way to get rid of him and say, "Oh, sorry, bye." Do you know what I mean? But yeah, Kunle, what you say, man?
No, I was going to say, in terms of like the overall aspect of Chelsea, I don't know what the fan base expected of Poch overall last season. Because for me, top six is, they went from 12th to 6th. So first of all, that's progression, in it. No matter how you want to look at it, that is progress, like 100%. Like, look, I understand as a rival, especially the cheeky Chelsea fans, as a rival, I'm getting on to Chelsea fans because they spent $1 billion in a year and they should be challenging for titles. Because if any of our clubs were spending that amount of money, there's pressure on them challenging for titles. But after what I saw, how they did it, realistically, I knew these lot aren't challenging for shit because it is a mess. So first of all,
consistency, Kunle. Since the money thing is, considering the money that Arteta spent, what is to keep the same energy with the Chelsea? What must Arteta do for you now?
Damn, Chinks. You've had some.
Hey, this is a Chelsea thing, Chinks. Let's not do that. Let's not do that. Get to that another time.
True serum today, man. You're asking some profound.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on, Chinks, bro. You know what? Leave us now to decide. Leave us now. Let's deal with Chelsea first.
He's coming with typical fan. He's coming with typical fan energy, and I hate it.
I'm discussing the club at hand. We can discuss Arsenal when Arsenal is the topic. But first, Chelsea, it's a problem. So, but I understand with what was going on, top 6 is actually a great position for Poch to finish, if I'm being honest, for the mess that they were in. And Chelsea are now in a weird situation where they've got to kind of go all in with Maresca regardless, like, for it to make sense. Because at one point, this squad has to understand that we have to eat some crazy season for us to make it through somehow. It's going to be hard, but they just got to eat it. So no matter where Maresca finishes this year,
That's crazy.
Hold on. Yeah, pause. But no matter where Maresca finishes this season, as long as he's bringing a style of play, whether it's 8th or 6th or whatever, Chelsea fans just have to just hold that for now to see it through. Because if you keep chopping and changing, it's going to keep being the same repetition. And as an Arsenal fan, I love it. Please keep doing it, bully. We love it.
Hey.
But as a Chelsea fan, it's crazy, man. Like, there's so much going on, man.
Hey, Deji. Does the signing of Osimhen make you think Chelsea will move any different if they were to get him?
I don't know who said it yesterday, but someone said to me, Chelsea are looking like a different squad because they're signing Tosin. I think it was Don. They signed Tosin. They signed Osimhen, and I can't help. Look, I'm of Nigerian heritage, but Chelsea right now, this potential signing is looking like the Super Eagles, and I'm not going to lie to you, the Super Eagles haven't done anything decent since 1994. So the brutal answer is no. Yeah,
You're not being genuine.
Osimhen coming into Chelsea under that Maresca brother, they ain't doing jack. And as for Conor Gallagher, I don't think Tottenham need a Moses Kiptanui in our midfield. A long distance infiltration just runs around. What we need is what we got. Bergvall, Bentancur, people who can control the ball and support in attack. So that's my rebuttal to Toon Tactics' point.
But bro, Deji, don't you think you need some actual legs though? Because Bentancur,
we've got legs.
Oh, hold on, Bentancur, oh my guy,
got Saar, Bissouma, they got legs, but Gallagher,
they're all quite languid players, and I like them, yeah. But there's no, where are the James Milners? And you need that in, I would say,
the great parlours. You need a bit of that, you know what I mean?
Go on doggies and slide tackles and get the ball back, the Nicky Butts. You need that, and then lay it off to, you know what I mean, your sons and these people. Yeah. I think you need the engine.
Hey, Goats, you know, Deji and them, they don't know what it takes to win titles.
I think we've got that in Archie Gray, to be fair. I think that's
no.
I
don't think Archie's the same type of player, Dej, as Connor.
They asked about.
I heard he's been looking lost as a 6.
Yeah, I just don't think they're the same player.
Drake.
Well, I think Archie Gray might just surprise us all, to be fair.
You know what?
I know what you're saying, though, but I don't think Connor's that.
He'll have to.
But
you know what it is?
Sounds that for me.
Profile-wise, I get it. Like, I think Gray was brought in to be that kind of not technical player, but that player that's good on the ball, can play multiple positions, and he's a third-generational footballer, so he's got a decent football IQ. And for his age, he did his thing against Chelsea, kind of backed them up. You know what I'm saying?
John Stones, look good.
But
I think you need some steel.
Huh?
So you need some steel in there, some Xhaka.
He has got a little bit about him, you know. I was watching him. Obviously, he's playing as a centre back for us because we are centre back. So
yeah, but there's no experience in that still, Ash. You know what I mean?
There's
no experience. He's not England international. Just went back off the Euros. You get me,
bro? Listen,
don't disrespect Gallagher. Tell him, Dan. Tell him about your guy, bro. Tell him.
I'm not gonna lie about Cali Dog. Yeah, you said Cali Dog. You know that's mad. But listen, I personally looked at him and I said, the long frame, he's got long legs, pause, but the way he was tackling and then he's using his upper body strength, I said, right, you know what? He's actually a bit more physical than I thought he was originally. Do you know what I mean? And then the way he was able to maneuver around the pitch, I said, right, you know what? He's got a little bit of legs as well. But to caveat, I do hear you. I think.
Can I add something else about Conor Gallagher? Not that I'm in the Conor Gallagher fan club, but I support Liverpool, but I live in South London. I've probably seen more Crystal Palace games than been to Crystal Palace Selhurst more than I've been to Anfield. And about 2 seasons ago, when Conor Gallagher was playing for Crystal Palace, he was really, really impressive, and he won the player of.
He's doing everything.
He won the player of the. He was voted player of the season for them, and he's not a flair player. He's not. You know what I mean? He doesn't grab headlines. But I like a lot of what he does.
Me too.
don't write off Conor Gallagher because he's not, banging in worldies and so on and so forth.
But he is banging in worldies. What are we doing?
He does do, yeah. He's got a lot of goals after the 85th minute as well.
He's got
Not a lot of
utility.
goals, but this season, in comparison to how many he scored, a lot of them were late on in the games.
Not enough to count on him, though, man.
Do you know what? At times, Chinks, we definitely.
'Cause I like
there was
him.
There was a game against Palace where Connor stepped.
There
was
was
one
a
more
good
as
game.
well. I'm trying to recall which one it was, but I'll be gutted to see Connor leave because I think you're making a good point that the James Milners of the world and players like that are sort of disappearing out of the game. And I think there's games in a season where someone like Conor Gallagher is very useful to have in your team. Conor Gallagher off the ball is fantastic. He leads the press. I think for me, he fits Ange's system incredibly well. I think he really would be a fantastic addition for Tottenham, especially with the way you play with the high line, with the way that you're going to press extremely high up the pitch. Conor can run all game. He can do that. Look, he's not the most technical player in the world. And at times, I think Poch expected and asked too much of him last season, put him in roles where it was unfair to expect Conor to deliver, played him at a 10. That's not his role. But if you're off the ball, if he's the furthest player up the pitch or alongside the striker, then he's really useful. But I personally don't think he'll end up at Spurs. I think the sort of...
Ash, can Deji respond to that last comment, please?
The law of Spain and Atletico Madrid and to work with Diego Simeone, for me, probably will be enough for Conor to leave.
It'll be
England.
perfect for him as well.
Oh, 100%. I think when you look at what he did for Kieran Trippier, there are players now that they probably spoke at the Euros. They've probably spoken about that, what it's like over there. He's probably advised him to do it. I think it's well worth a player like Conor Gallagher having an education off Diego Simeone.
Oh, yeah. Is Trippier leaving Two Tactics, by the way? Is he gone? Is he a gone man? But actually, before you say that, there's a small matter of Gordon. Oh, what's going on? Are they taking your hobby?
I'm looking stressed as soon as you said that.
No, stress. I'll wait for the hyenas to stop cackling, and then I'll say my play.
When it been 6 on my window.
I'm trying to pretend he had a
Let's see what happens when Real Madrid come for Saliba. Anyway, I think for the Gordon stuff,
that wasn't even an Arsenal shot, but
yeah, I think it all depends on what sources you're listening to. I understand obviously from Ornstein and actually Amanda Stavely, one of our former owners, and the Telegraph. Yes, 3-4 weeks ago when we was trying to sort out our PSR situation and we weren't getting any sales, annoyingly, it seems like Gordon was approached by at least one of our owners and said, look, we might have to sell you. And then what happened in the last 24 hours, we got Yankuba Minte and obviously Elliot Anderson sold off. And so that was it. However, obviously the question is, Gordon is feeling a little bit undervalued, shall we say?
You sold two ball boys, and now you've made your.
It was feeling a bit undervalued. I was saying, so why didn't you ask Bruno? Why didn't you ask Isak? And is that what you're telling me? Yeah. So I think it's an open question, but at the moment we're waiting for him to return to Newcastle United, and a new contract is being discussed. All of our sources are saying to us that look, it's unlikely he's to go to Liverpool this summer. I think the only way, and I think the situation with Gomez is interesting, and I think Goats can kind of educate us more on that. My understanding is. The news that's coming out now with Gomez being a swap deal with Gordon is that Liverpool are looking to sell Gomez anyway, and they're just trying to spike the value a bit up. But that's their rumor. In terms of Gordon, I think if you put 75 million, 80 million cash up front, I think they're definitely talking to Gordon about moving. But yeah, it's up to Liverpool about how much they want him, really. But as far as I know, there's a time lag in that news.
Gogs, do you even need Gordon? Man?
I didn't sound confident.
I'm so confused about, do we even need Gordon? We've got pressing issues, big pressing issues. We finished 9 points off the top. We finished third. We ran out of steam towards the end, etc., etc., etc. I don't think Gordon is top of our priorities.
Is that factual?
And-
Sorry.
You let this fraud in, man. You let
Huh?
this.
Steve McLaren is
You
the
let this
Jamaican
fraud
national
in.
team manager.
Yeah,
Is that
he
true?
is.
You're welcome,
Ash, what do
Kunle.
you think, man?
You're welcome, Kunle.
That's hilarious.
Apparently, there's a job going for
This guy
apparently
is,
there's a
man.
job for translator as well. So
I told you.
anyone of Jamaican heritage wants to be a translator, there's a job going. Indeed, Steve McLaren. So, yeah. Back to your question, Ash, I'm not sure we need Gordon at all.
What do you need then? You said you got pressing matters.
We've got so many things we need. We need a centre back. We need a left back for Robertson, because the drop off when Robertson doesn't play is immense. We need a holding midfielder. So Endo came in on at the last second. He basically rolled under the falling wall like Indiana Jones into the team on deadline day, and he's done all right. But he's not a long-term solution. And we need a striker. We've got big problems, man.
Do you lot play? Does anyone think that Jota plays as a striker for Liverpool, or is that a mad thing?
Jota can't stay fit, but he's deadly.
That's not a mad thing, but yeah, he can't stay fit.
So
That's the biggest issue.
I heard you've been playing 2 false nines in pre-season at the moment,
and 2 10s as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like it's going to be quite fluid, and I think Anthony Gordon would fit into that system as a fluid sort of high striker.
Dan, let me ask you as a neutral, Dan. Do you think Anthony Gordon is better than Luis Diaz?
Yeah. Do you know what? I don't know technically.
He has his garbage. He's just blaring tricks.
He's not garbage. He's
blaring tricks, bro.
He's not garbage.
Okay, he's not garbage. I'm overdoing that, but he's flaring tricks. He ain't got nothing.
I think that's the point, Kunle. I think
not garbage, but
yeah, I think
that's not the guy.
Garbage, but
But I went a bit extreme.
You went wild, bro.
He's way more efficient than Luis Diaz. I feel like Luis Diaz offers a lot technically with how he can manipulate the football, but I don't feel like there's always an end product that you'd expect from a player of his quality. Whereas I feel like Anthony Gordon has a bit more of like the Conor Gallagher about him as a type of player in terms of workhorse. He'll press off the ball, but then there's a little bit of quality in there as well, where he'll run a man, finish from outside the box. He's both-footed.
You know what? If he bolts up a bit, Diaz in the number 8 role, that could work, mate. But
he's got more quality than the of Chelsea's front three. He can take the ball on the left wing.
Where did that come from?
He doesn't have more quality.
Tune, before you go. Tune. Go back in the kitchen, man. You're fucking up in there where you're sitting.
Bro,
I'll tell you why. So he can take the ball on the half turn on the left wing and the right, on the right wing. He can play across all the front three. His assists and goals have gone up to 20 plus. Yes, he's a workhorse. He's more. When you say Conor Gallagher, his higher pressing is very efficient. Very effective. His finishing is exceptional. Look at the man. He scored a goal against all top 6 teams in the last season. So don't just mention Conor Gallagher. He's more efficient than any of your front three.
No, I'm talking about something else.
That's why Liverpool are looking at him.
You're promoting a player that you're about to lose, you know, big man. So big up, though.
It's not am I selling him? I'm just
Toon, just to straighten it out, by the way. I don't mean Conor Gallagher in terms of ability-wise. I just mean off the ball. I feel like there's a similar mould on Anthony Gordon in terms of how hard they're willing to work to get that ball back.
No, I'm emphasising why Arne Slot is looking at Gallagher. Gallagher. He's looking at Gordon. Because it's not just on the right wing forward. It's not just looking at Diaz. He's looking at your right wing side. He's looking at your centre, and he's saying how effective can he be. He's learned a lot from Eddie Howe actually about not only taking the ball. Look at this. This is like this elitist top 6 thing. Oh, Eddie Howe, ha. And like you try to get promoted from League 2 to Premier League, right? You try to do that and hold up in the Premier League of League 2 players. I don't think Arteta can do that. All right, so Eddie Howe. So with that,
he wouldn't need to. He's finished second in the Premier League.
What if you look at?
I'm doing tactics. You're so cute. Let's do
you know what I mean?
Real quick, I know I haven't spoken. I know I really haven't spoken this show, but big up Toon Tactics. I think your microphone is the wrong input because I'm hearing a lot of room noise when you talk. I think it's your computer mic that's selected right now because it's not. Yeah, 50 minutes into the show, you think one of these professionals would have given you a heads up, but that's what happens when you work with Kunle, I suppose.
Bro.
You work with Kunle, he's going to bottle it every time. Like, oh, Kunle, maybe you could help me. Yeah, I'll help you, and then he's never there. That's a Kunle move. But don't worry.
Hi,
Tune, I got your back.
Jacob. I've missed
Hi,
you too,
Kunle.
Jacob. Hi. How are you?
It's good to see you. It's somehow your connection's worse when you go to England. I don't understand.
Bro, talk to me about these English folks. They were talking about Niger connection. I told them it was them, not me. It was them.
Hey,
Big up everybody. My man, Deji.
Big one, and Deji, I'll bring you in as well. Basically, here's the narrative, right? Celtic, you saw what they did in the preseason. They punched up a couple of teams.
Slap them up.
They kind of slapped them up. I'm not going to lie. Obviously, Ange's come from Celtic, right?
Yeah.
And in Celtic, in his first season, fans were like, "Wait, this ain't Japan. What are you doing? This ain't Australia. What are you doing?" Second season, he patterned up better. He did better, right? And when I say he did better, obviously he won the league. He did his thing. Obviously, I'm not going too far with it, but I'm just throwing that question now. I'm not.
You're trying to.
I'm just saying,
continue.
Can Ange do one better than this season, in your opinion? Knowing that last season he said, he didn't want to get into the tactics too much. He didn't want to get into the details. He just wanted the players to play because he didn't want them to be overloaded with information. He just wants players to be natural and make their minds up by themselves. Now he wants to get into the tactical detail. And you see a different Tottenham coming into this season.
Bro,
can I ask a question? No, clarification question. Sorry. You went on a mad segue there. You started with Celtic are beating teams, and you're somehow linking that to Ange Postecoglou. Is Ange Postecoglou the manager of Celtic?
But he laid the foundation.
Is he now?
He laid
the foundation for which Brennan Johnson has been building.
Talking about foundation, first season, second season, they push on titles and that. Yeah, that's what he's trying to say.
The truth of the matter is, I can't wait for the season to start. I don't know about you, Ash. I can't wait to get all this kind of pre-season talk out the way and we see Wagwan. Let me tell you why we are going to fly this season. I'm so excited. The first thing is that our gaffer, one of the few gaffers to speak with chess, told us before the end of last season that
we were the gaffer of
involved. Our gaffer, Postecoglou, told us we were going to be involved in a title race. I believe Tottenham is going to be Tottenham, Arsenal, Man City going for it. And you know what I love about Postecoglou is he ain't here to be trying to get top four. He ain't here trying to do edictness, trying to win Carabao Cup to appease fans who ain't got no ambition. This brother's like, he was vexed with where we finished last season. Don't get it twisted. In his first season, he was pissed. He was vexed. The other thing is, I think the other reason why Tottenham is going to be getting top three, unfortunately, goes every time. One thing is, I respect you as a
top three, did you?
But Liverpool under Arne Slot reminds me of Erik ten Hag. He's just as dusty and just as dry. And because of him, I just don't see how he's got big shoes to fill. It's going to take time for him to settle. So Liverpool
finished third in his first season, Deji. Ten Hag finished third in his first season, bro.
Who? Yeah, but bro,
Ten Hag finished third in his first season.
And then what happened? Yeah,
and he made Ten Hag made bold statements as well.
He won the FA Cup.
He doesn't feel any rival fan with any confidence. So Liverpool's gone. Chelsea is one of the.
That doesn't guarantee that they're gone, though. These are all assumptions and hypotheticals.
When the big manager leaves a club, like a Klopp, like a Wenger, there's always a dip before they go back up. There is no way Arne Slot's going to come in and maintain what Klopp has been doing over the last 8 years. We know there's going to be a dip. It's new. It's the Premier League. You don't know these players. These aren't the way that he plays football. There's going to be a dip, bro. Definitely.
So keep consistency with narratives then. So since the guy after the guy always leaves has a dip, your style of play, which you play, which is high pressing, mad fluid football, you need mad legs for it. We did the same thing and fell apart at the back end of the season because you can't sustain that tempo for 38 games in the Premier League. So are you telling me you have a different style of play, or you have the squad that can sustain that same type of football for the whole season?
I think that's why he's brought in younger players.
No, and that's adequate depth. You're telling me.
Bro, I swear down, during the preseason, and you can look Ash in his face right now as I say,
Preseason's irrelevant.
But bro, what we've noticed in preseason, whether you like it or not, is an indicator, isn't it? Arsenal fans were shaking their bum. You were shaking your bum for Shiver Me Timbers. He ain't stepped a foot in the Premier League, but you were shaking your bum just on his preseason performances. What I'm trying to say is that we've seen the young guns come into the second half football during the preseason and outplay our so-called first team, which means they're able to adapt and
Korean All-Stars
system a lot better than our so-called first team. So I think Postecoglou is seriously thinking about playing more of the younger players, and rightly so. Why aren't we playing players from our academy? Arsenal done it, Liverpool's done it. The big teams tend to bring players up. We're one of the only teams that doesn't do it.
Big teams, yeah.
We are.
But you know what?
Chelsea won't be there because of Maresca. Liverpool won't be there because of Slot. And Man United is one of the justest teams I've ever seen in my life, taking 40 nails last season and keeping the gaffer, so they won't be there. Newcastle.
Deji. So, Man United won a trophy. Let's keep things into perspective. I agree with you about Arne Slot. Yeah, it's a big giant question mark. And my expectations and most Liverpool's expectations is that we finish top 4 and we'll be happy because it's his first season and so on and so forth. We haven't signed, by the way, we're the only top 6 side that haven't signed anybody yet as well. So I understand all of that. I think the problem with Tottenham, though, is you need goals, bro. You need goals. And no, there's no way around it. Archie Gray, as good as he might be, and some of your youngsters coming through, if it isn't Son, I don't think Brennan Johnson's getting a bag of goals. We definitely know Werner isn't going to get a bag of goals. And then you've got Richarlison, who is very, very sometime-ish, to say the least. There's not goals in that team, and that's the problem that you're always going to face. So Ange Postecoglou, the way he plays as well, and he's made it clear he's not going to change, you're always going to concede because you have the highest line in the whole of the Premiership. And we saw a dry run last season when you went down to 10 men and 9 men, and you're still playing the highest line that's ever existed.
Hell yeah, baby. Hell yeah. Hell fucking yeah, we did. I loved it. Talk to me nicely. I don't know why we're talking about it like
The problem is you've got a hybrid of a defense which is going to be leaky, undoubtedly, because you've got a stubborn manager, and you've got no goals up front. So all of this bravado and this hope about...
I do agree with the no goals thing.
Title challenge, it's not... I don't see that happening.
I agree.
I do think he has some really good points. If I may be... If Kunle will allow me to speak, because I know Kunle here in the middle feels like he's the fucking center of the Brady Bunch now.
Go for it, bro.
I do agree. I do agree with what... Yeah, man, of course. I do agree with, I haven't met you before, Goku. Yeah, I can't really, the text is kind of small on my TV, but I think he's spot on. I'm extremely concerned about this attack. The fact that a 16-year-old is our best right winger doesn't mean that we have the next Lamine Yamal. It means that we have no really good right wingers. And to me, that is a problem. Brennan Johnson, I mean, the fact that we are a couple weeks away from match day 1, and we're gonna have Brennan Johnson, Timo Werner, and Heung-min Son in that forward line, that scares the living hell out of me. Now we've been looking at Kulu.
I like Jacob. He applies common sense.
I like this version of Jacob. We don't always like version.
You always get the same version of me just because you catch me after we're on a 10-game unbeaten streak and you don't like what I'm saying.
I was hearing hell of fraud from you. I was hearing all sorts of crazy.
No, I did have to hold that. Bro, Madison fooled me. Yes, James Madison is a crypto bro. I did think he was better than Odegaard for 10 games. Wow. And then I was like, just wait till he come back. And then he came back and he was not good. And I had to hold that. So, yes, James Madison is a crypto bro.
Sorry to cut you, Jacob, but did you just see that, Deji? Like ownership of a bullshit take. Did you just see what he just did there?
Well, I didn't think it was bullshit when I said it. I felt it.
I know. No, but
I'll tell you what.
He still rides the same horse though, Jacob.
Bro, just let Madison.
I mean, shout out Deji, man. Deji's one of my favorite Spurs reps.
Deji,
I love the way he wears the club on his chest.
Jacob,
Like, I do the same shit. So.
He bet me money last season that they were going to finish above us.
Jacob ain't finished his point. Go on.
He bet me money, sterling.
I need to pay you. Don't worry.
But sorry,
go on, Jacob.
No, I am extremely concerned about the Spurs attack. He's spot on. We need goals. We will concede goals. That is the style of this play. And the whole point of it is like, well, we're going to go out there and score more goals than you are. Now, the system does set up players like Brennan Johnson and Timo Werner to just be at the back post, simple tap in, and we're trying to basically just walk the ball into the back of the net. That is a problem. The fact that Heung-min Son as a number 9 is getting bullied in the box, and he's doing all the things as a forward that don't actually accentuate the things he's good at. You put him on the left wing, and it opens everything up. Just because defenders will naturally pull that way. They'll be more concerned with Son. I'd be more concerned with Son than Richarlison, I'll tell you that much. And so it's like that, to me, you get a legitimate striker, and it seems like we're trying to kind of patch this up with a Kulusevski at the number 9. Now, passing-wise, I do like the link-up play. Strength-wise, I do like the hold-up play. Everyone told me, I didn't watch Ainge at Celtic. I didn't watch him at Australia or Japan, but everyone told me in an Ainge system, the number 9 is essentially a decoy, a dummy man, a guy to go out there, absorb pressure and contact, and just lay the ball off to the runners like Porro, Udogie, well, today was Donley, and then the wingers like Brennan Johnson and Timo Werner. Now, again, Timo Werner and Brennan Johnson, that is 2 red flags out of the 3 front of an attack. So I am extremely concerned about that. However, if we can correct that, I'm not concerned at all about the concession of goals, because that will go down naturally as we score more goals. And I just think that a lot of the times that we got cut open like that, it was because 1-2 passes, sure, it does break us open. That is what the tactics lend us, to where we have one guy is kind of the lone man, and then you have a recovery man like Mickey Van de Veen, because those fullbacks are inverting. We're playing a guy from the academy, Jamie Donley. Y'all probably never heard of him, but he was a great attacking midfielder, number 10 for he helped us win Premier League 2 last year. He was fantastic. He's been highly touted, and he's 18 years old. So he gets played as the left back, and everyone's like, well, why is he doing that? Well, it's very simple if you look at a heat map about it, because the areas in which the fullbacks invert and occupy in the attack is the same areas in which he occupied in the academy. So that, for me, when you get these players that can naturally just, when Udogie goes out with an injury or a red card, we got someone to come in. Romero, Van de Veen, injury, red card for either one. I mean, I know people like to say this and that about Romero. He only got 1 last year. Less yellow cards than Mikel Arteta, but we move. But again, I'm telling you that all those things will go down even when we have an injury. So we're building a slight bit of a squad. I'm not saying we're completely stable yet, but we are starting it. We're getting rid of this huge payroll of fucking losers. Sorry, Ash, but these fucking losers that we employ for years. And Ndombele, Giovanni Lo Celso, he got to go. He ain't even in Korea yet, but I don't even want him to fly out there. And you got Hugo Lloris, Eric Dyer, Davinson Sanchez. Did I already say Tanguy and Ndombele? I think I did. Ivan Perisic and Tanguy and Ndombele, that's $500,000 a week on those 2 players, and neither one of them saw the pitch last year.
All those players still at your club?
No, they're gone.
No, I mentioned those. They're gone. We're getting those people out. Yes, but the Werner thing, it wasn't like we bought him for 2 years, so we did loan him 12 more months. It maybe just seems like we're doing that until we get
bro, don't sugarcoat that deal.
I don't know what the Timo. I don't know, bro. Timo Werner thing does not make sense. There's no way I can defend it. I can only just say, I hope it wasn't Ainge who was like, yo, bring me that guy back. I think it was genuinely the board was like, look, we need an attacker. You said we need an attacker. We can get this guy on the cheap, rework the structure, where I'm hoping when the financials come out, it is a rework deal where it's not 165 solely on Tottenham like it was the first 6 months. I'm hoping it could be, maybe a 60-40, 70-30 split with Leipzig, obviously in their favor. But again, 12 more months of Timo, I've seen worse. We had Brian Hill for 4 years, and he still technically isn't gone. We did loan him to Girona. The bum lost 4-0 today, by the way, the loser. He's all talking shit on his way out. I hope that door smack his donkey head on the way out, by the way. But again, a man who has 2 dribbles in 4 years He's been getting paid all this time. It's like we're finally trying to change that about us that has made us so bad, and it's going to take time. And this is that rough transition period where fans, I mean, a lot of fans are not happy with Ainge and the way that he runs things. For me, I'll just say I love what Ainge is doing. It doesn't matter if you sack him and you brought in Jesus Cristo. It's the same fucking Tottenham that you're going to see. I saw Jose Mourinho, he always wins a trophy, and he got us to the doorstep, and we sacked him. Conte was supposed to be the Jose in his prime. He's the guy who does this, that. Bang on, let's get him. Pochettino got us there. We didn't back him. We backed him too late with half-assing, and then look what that got us. Again, we've been in a huge mess for years and years, and the only way you the only way you can clean up that mess is by picking up one thing at a time. And I feel like we started that last summer. We've continued it this summer even more. Now, it's not going to be that this season, to me, it's not going to be like a title charge. Now, if we went out and we did Ezzy, Tony, and we got another backup fullback and a boss in the midfield, you do 4 more signings. Now, I would say, hey, talk to me nicely. We're probably going to challenge for the title. But I don't see it. This Ezzy thing is probably not even going to happen anymore. Tony, we're distancing ourselves from that. So, to me, we're going to look into bring more question marks into this squad. Brennan Johnson, to me, hasn't improved based on what I've seen in the preseason. I heard someone say preseason.
I'm sorry. What was the fucking question?
Disagree with the notion that preseason.
What was the question?
Wait. We're gonna come back around because obviously I was talking about basically Spurs.
Well, I was addressing all the points that I've been hearing. I've been listening to the show before I joined, so it wasn't a single question I was asked. I was actually just educating you all about the Renaissance at Tottenham Hotspur. And, I agree that the notion that the attack is a problem.
But before you guys, because Gokes and Kunle have to go, and obviously Liverpool and Arsenal are playing tonight, 12:30. Am I right or wrong? They're playing tonight? Yeah,
12:30.
12:30, right?
Or 1.
So I just want to know between you guys, who do you think is going to win that? I mean, obviously it's a preseason friendly, and obviously you're not full strength, but you're 2 rivals. How do you see it going, man? Real quick before you guys bounce. And Kunle, you can start. Or Gokes can start. I don't mind. Anyone?
I would say I don't give a damn, to be honest, man. Just preseason means absolutely diddly squat to me. Like I want to. If we had a new signing that comes in, like Calafiori, get some minutes, it'll be nice to see him get on the pitch. But I don't mind.
You've ever seen him?
Look, as long as we don't get turned over. Huh?
I said, is that going to be the second or the first time you've ever seen that man suit up?
First time.
That's going to be the fifth time. But first time as an Arsenal player, which is what I was referring to. Okay. But so if he comes on, then that'd be good to see. But other than that, I don't really care. But just don't get turned over like Chelsea did 4-1.
If you don't get pumped, would you be up? Yeah, we have that same type of energy. If you get smacked 4-0, 5-0.
Like, I think we went invincible winning 1 game in preseason. Like, it don't mean shit, bro.
Kunle, before you leave,
I'm happy that Kunle's answered that way because I was saying exactly the same thing. My biggest hope is that we don't get any injuries. That's the main thing. I don't want any injuries. There is one young boy called Naomi who he's 17 and he's playing in a holding midfield position, and he looks like he definitely passes the eye test. But he's looked really, really good this preseason. He's straight out of our academy, but he looks like a classy player, and I'd like to see him get some minutes. Aside from that, though, I just don't want any injuries. It wouldn't be so bad if we were to get battered, to be honest, because we need to buy players. So part of me feels like I don't want us to get smashed, and I'm sure we won't. But even if we did, maybe it might spur on some activity in the transfer market, which we need.
If you guys
one of the worst things that could happen is that we completely annihilate Arsenal, and then it gives the impression that we don't need to go into the transfer market because look what we've done. I think that could be the worst possible outcome. So for me, good run out for the team and no injuries, and I'll be happy.
I'd like to see one year and the Salah guy play.
You said, Goats, about holding midfield, and you mentioned it a little bit earlier as well about Endo. What happened to Bajcetic? Is that just done now?
Yeah.
Promising?
He was injured for the entire season, and he was supposed to even come back towards the end of last season. I think he got a recurring injury, I was surprised our last game that we played against Real Betis, he didn't come on. I was surprised, and we played this youngster. So I don't know what's going on by Tecic. He's fit apparently, and he was a prospect at one point, but I don't know where he's in the pecking order. Hopefully, he can get some minutes as well, because we know that Endo is not the long term, as well as he's done, in my opinion. He's not the long term plan. He's 31, so it'd be good if he got some minutes as well. Yeah, that's about it really. Just no injuries, please.
Bless up to Kunle, man, for coming on the show. He's got to go. I know Gox, you got to cut as well, man. So big you man up. Love for the love. Try to get you on again.
Big up, man.
After later, man.
See you guys.
Man.
Take care, yeah. I want to bring in Big Preach, man. Obviously, there's been talk about your boy Preach. They've been talking wicked about your boy Gomez. Do you want to see him go, or should they hang on to him? Like 40 million? Is it 42 mil? That's a lot of money, no? Would you not want to give that up or pause? But or would you want to talk to me about Gomez, man? What's going on?
Do you know, I need Gomez to stay. Like, I don't like it. I don't feel like number one, I don't feel like our squad's in the position where we need to get rid of to get better. I think we were third last season. We took a trophy home. We're in a position to just strengthen the squad. So I'm not really happy with this swap deal kind of thing. I like Gordon, but I don't think getting him for that and losing Gomez is worth it. I don't care.
Gomez over getting Gordon. Is that what you're saying?
I don't think
Gomez.
No, it's not about ratings. I don't think that as a squad, I don't think it's worth losing Gomez to get Gordon. I don't think that if you got, I don't know, for example, I don't know, if you just got another Virgil van Dijk, maybe I feel that's worth it. But I don't think when Gordon will bring anything different to what we have already. Yeah, he's got goals, but that doesn't guarantee that he's gonna give us those goals. Do you know what I'm saying? So I don't feel I feel like we lose out more defensively. He's versatile, in all defensive areas he can play. He saved us so many times throughout the Jurgen's era. He needs to stay for me. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah, he just needs to stay.
Okay.
I agree with Big Preach, I just feel like it's a travesty the way that clubs are treating some of their academy players. Dan was talking about Chalobah. It's a disgrace what Chelsea are doing with him. We're talking about Emil Smith-Rowe at Arsenal. I think the way that Arsenal dealt with him as well has been disgusting. He's a decent
Whoa. Why is it disgusting?
Needed some game time. And Gomez, for me,
the number 10 too.
Gomez is a big game player.
No, he took the number 10. We never gave it to him. He asked for it, and then we said he can have it.
He probably earned it as well, Chinks, right?
According to these lot, you always want to have a go at Arteta. He saved his job not too long ago. So be consistent.
Emil Smith-Rowe, I just think, is more decent than what Arsenal fans have appreciated in him. And
what do you mean by he's not up to it?
He's not a bad player, bro. He wasn't a bad player.
So is all you need to make it our team? You know what? You don't know my team, so go on. Sorry.
And then for me, finally, Gomez, I think is a big game player as well. I think he does a solid job for Liverpool. And if Liverpool let him go, then it's Big Preach. You weren't on when I was telling Gokes that I really don't have a prayer for you guys to finish in the top 4. And Gomez leaving is a direct indication that Liverpool is not a team that we can take seriously this season. So I'm with you, my brother. You man have to keep him. He's been solid for Liverpool from day. If not, I ain't got to worry about you. I ain't got to worry about Chelsea. And I definitely ain't worrying about Manchester United this season.
You see about that Smith-Rowe thing that you mentioned there. Do you think Fabio Vieira is going to stay? Do you think Fabio?
Nah.
They got something.
He does stay. He's going to be here next season.
You reckon he is, Chinks?
You think he's a good player, Chinks?
I know he is going to be here next season.
Well, more than Smith-Rowe.
Is he good?
He's the player that Arteta speaks to the most.
Is he better than Smith-Rowe?
Oh,
Availability is the best ability. So yes.
wow. Okay, fair enough, man.
I don't understand why Arsenal would want to keep Fabio Vieira when, like, I don't think anyone's seen yet what he really offers.
Well, they see it more than us, and
Yeah, I hear that, but some
Emil
players
Smith-Rowe's
are
money
unreal
is
in
clean
training.
profit. Well, contract comes into play now, isn't it? And
Right.
then we like Emil Smith-Rowe, but he's been there for how long? He ain't made the first team. He's had. If you watch the All or Nothing documentary, there's questions about his fitness and his lifestyle and how his life choices. So there's a whole load of stuff. He's a great player and all of that, but he had. I don't know. He may have not got opportunities as everybody wishes, but I think it's good money.
Do you know what? Yeah, I was looking at your record sales, and he's right up the top for the amount you could get from Fulham. So it's actually, as Arsenal's business goes for selling players, it's really good.
And everybody has a goal because we didn't play him, and Aston Villa offered us 30. And now look, we got 35.
Yeah. Well, does anyone worry if because Arsenal are being linked with, or they're saying they're keeping tabs on Sane, but does he change? Like for anyone, like Arsenal's push for the title if they get a Sane in, or do you think it's too much of a player? Like, is there enough room for him to fit in?
I don't know.
I don't think. Yeah, go on, Ben. Go on. Oh, sorry, Dan. Sorry, go on, Dan.
Yeah, Sane adds something to any team. I think it allows you to fight on multiple fronts. So it obviously allows Saka to have a rest if they've got a competitive Champions League game or group stage game or something like that. I'd question mark Sane's injury record as well, and I'm not sure. I feel like for me there are issues in Arsenal's squad that they'd need more than signing Sane. I feel like signing that left-sided centre midfielder is probably a good place to start, actually, and I think they're doing that with Marino.
Yeah, they are looking at Marino. He's meant to be a little bit more,
isn't it?
Yeah, from what I'm reading, I'm seeing like the personal terms were agreed, and there are more and less advanced talks. So. Yeah, that's for you, Chinks. I think you're getting another midfielder. So, yes, Arsenal are moving quickly in the market at the moment. But yeah, we move, man. We'll see what happens, man. But yeah, guys, Deji has to make a move, and so does Jacob. So, man, thanks for coming on. Big up and love as always, man.
Big up, man.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Desi's getting at the wrong time. I just wanted to ask him something. Still,
yeah, no, I'm leaving in 8 minutes. 8 minutes.
Yeah, because you use the word worried. Yeah, you're not worried about Liverpool, and I remember
if you sell Gomez,
no, you say if we sell him, it's like even worse.
Yeah, even worse.
Yeah, so if we take away the even part, you still think it's worse, isn't it?
Yeah, bro. I mean, have you seen this guy on his stock? He's dusty, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I won't lie here. I don't understand where you've got that from.
Yeah.
Like everything that will happen to Liverpool this season is a guess, just like your like Spurs. Like we don't know what you're gonna do. Like you guys hopefully feel he's adapted, but you don't know what you're gonna do. It's the same. So what I want to know is what makes you like, because if Liverpool don't do what we did last season, it's a 2-horse race this season. Yeah. So like when you say what are you doing to like be worried in the first place? Like
I can explain, and the good thing Big Preach is over the last 6 months, every time me and you are on the show together, we become more and more like brothers. You preach and I preach. So the thing is, Klopp was big shoes to fill.
You know, the last time I said Klopp's name, the violins all came out. Why?
Yeah. But what I'm trying to say is Klopp is big shoes to fill. It's going to be very difficult for that brother Arne Slot to come in and fill those big shoes. We just know that. There's going to be a dip.
What was the example you're going by as well? So.
Bro, there's going to be a dip before you can perform. The other thing
what's the example? What's the example though? This is what I really do want to chat.
I'm looking at Fergie. I'm looking at Wenger.
Let's not bullet point. Can we not let's not bullet point it, yeah? So Fergie passed on the worst Man United team he's ever had to Moyes. Who hadn't achieved anything at Everton, yeah?
But he won something.
I was just going to say, are their styles the same?
Bro, is on his slot.
I'm saying Fergie.
He passed on a Man United side that just won the league and had Robin Van Persie in it. It weren't the worst he ever had.
I said it was the worst Fergie team. I ain't saying
it's still one side.
That's not his worst team.
It was Fergie's worst team.
I actually think the worst team was the season before they had Van Persie.
It's like this. Right,
Hence why they bought Van Persie.
Yeah. I think Fergie fans were biased even before.
Right, no, one extra player doesn't make the whole team better, innit? Like Percy didn't make their defenders.
We're going into the weeds here. How about this, Big Preach?
So anyway, but listen. So what I wanted to say is, what was the other point? Because what I'm saying,
I see similarities between him and Eric.
There isn't
no
similarities.
Deji, you know what I've just realized? This isn't even about you. He got Preach got jumped like the last time he was here, and he just comes to fight back.
I'll fight everyone and anyone. It don't make sense. Like the team that just won a trophy.
It's not about Deji.
It's not about Deji at all.
But the truth of the matter is, nobody, even you, Preach, no one's expecting much from Liverpool this season. You will do well to finish.
I do. I expect them to.
I think there was a lot of things. There was a lot of kinks that we saw last season. You could say that maybe because Klopp knew he was leaving, he weren't able to get you sourcing at maximum. You are not prolific up top either with your Nunes and all them man there. But Arnie is coming from the Dutch league, and to be honest with you,
yeah. But the last manager,
he's another Eric.
He won trophies as well, isn't it? Your argument. The last manager that came from the Dutch league, he won trophies as well.
2 and 2 years.
One more trophy.
What?
Ten Hag won 2 and 2.
Did he win?
FA and Carabao.
Yeah.
Is that it? Is that what you're after?
No, don't start on this again, Dave.
I won't.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you.
I mean, when I look at Liverpool,
Dan's had enough.
Because I know these other Tottenham fans want trophies. I know they're
not fair.
Bro, I would take 2 and 2 right now. Don't care what 2. Just don't make it a preseason cup.
All I'm saying is that Liverpool
Big up, Jacob.
should be wanting to win the league or Champions League, surely.
Yeah, but no, we want to win.
2 and 2 to start the game is not a bad little.
You won a trophy since what, 2008, and you ain't won a league cup or a league trophy since the 60s. You take what you get, mate.
Exactly. So, Big Preach, I take you
I
guys.
know that sounds awful.
I shed a tear when we lost
honestly,
that most recent final, the Carabao Cup. So
you have to start. I can say this, as a Chelsea fan, you have to start somewhere, because before we won that League Cup with Mourinho, we weren't going into seasons. We won a little bit, but you have to start somewhere. You have to create that winning mentality. And if you listen to all of I don't want to bang on about Chelsea or the Spurs channel, but if you listen to Frank Lampard and John Terry's of the world, they will tell you that as soon as they won that first trophy, they got the taste to go and win it again. And I went on and on about that last year on how important it'd be for Pochettino to win a trophy.
I'll ask one question.
But that's what I think is a little bit. I do want to tag on to that a little bit with bringing in these young kids. Is they're easier to mold into the type of mentality you want out of a grown man. Archie Gray, 3rd generation footballer, and he's already there. But you got a Lucas Bergvall. He comes in. Rival fans, rightfully so, are taking the piss. But I love the quote from Lucas Bergvall.
Because I've heard that twice now. So you mean
his grandfather played for Leeds, his great uncle played for Leeds, his father played for Leeds, he played for Leeds, his younger brother plays for Leeds. That's 3 generations of Leeds.
Wow. And they weren't just ordinary players. They were like the guys. Like they were.
They're like the guys.
They were like big deal. Yeah, it was like
legends.
I mean, I'm not speaking for Leeds fans. I'm just saying what I've heard from like Joe Football Show and other Leeds channels.
Bottle up his genetics and sell it, mate, because they make a fortune. Oh my god!
The word around Ellen Road and around Yorkshire was that this guy acts like he's 35 years old and he's 18. He plays like he's 28 and he's 18.
Coming out of these young players out of academies at the moment. I'm not buying it, man. You need to be.
I just think from
naive.
Here's the thing: kids nowadays, it's a slippery slope, because there was a subject I was listening to from Talk Sport about kids nowadays are like, oh yeah, I play football, I want to be a footballer, but if that doesn't work, I'll just go into YouTube. And because they watch Speed, they watch Kai Cenat, they watch these other, big famous YouTubers, that's like kind of the young. I don't know this for a fact. I'm just saying what they were talking about was their kids in this generation growing up are going through the academy while also keeping the back of their mind on YouTube. You think Wayne Rooney, Harry Kane, any of these dudes who came out of English academies when they were kids, like, oh, if this doesn't work, I could do X, Y, and Z. No, it was, this doesn't work. That there is no this doesn't work. It has to work. David Beckham, same thing. You think he was like, if this doesn't work, I'll just go into broadcasting or modeling or whatever. No, I'll do that after I make it. You know what I mean? Like the mentality is different based off of where we are as a society. So for me to have a third generation footballer in today's TikTok society, McDonald's FC society, I like that more in a guy. It's less of a worry for me, the whole character thing, because media can misconstrue character.
Yeah, but it's also about who's teaching them. Like we talked about previous shows in terms of, like I said, I saw an interview from Bernard Hopkins, the boxer, ex-boxer, and he was talking about there's a lot of coaches, but there's not enough teachers. And so, yes, you can coach a young person, a young player, how to kick a ball and tactics and stuff like that. But there's also things that you got to be able to teach them in terms of character and values that not only are outside of the pitch, but also reflect themselves on the pitch. And too many people are scared to do that nowadays because social change and everything that has happened. But that impacts how you are as a person and what's reflective. So Alex Ferguson's players, Man United players, reflected him. Jose Mourinho players reflected him. Like all these other things, like and so forth. Jurgen Klopp, his players reflected him. And so two people miss out that part. They look at whenever I hear people talk about whether a manager is good, they say, but this tactic, that this possession, but this and that. But what about the guys? Like, what do you know about your manager's actual character and the values? Because the team are going to reflect that. They're going to reflect that guy.
That's fair.
You know what's mad, yeah? Because sorry to cut you, yeah. Am I the only one kind of pissed off with the Spurs board? Because I think like last season, Ange done very well to step into unknown territory and get top 4, even though he had a fall off,
And lose Kane, by the way.
Sorry,
top 5, they were fifth. They finished fifth.
Sorry, apologies. Yeah. But I think he done very well in doing that, And I think I always hear Spurs fans say Levy don't back the guy when he needs to back the guy. So we're signing all these youth players, not like he's not backing the guy. Like, do you know what I mean? Because you're meant to raise the ceiling, not the floor, to improve. Like, do you know what I mean? So am I the only one who's looking at this incorrect?
No, Chinks, I think you're right, but there's a part of me that, so one of the things that Postecoglou thrives in is he likes to thrive in the unknown. You don't know me, I'm from Australia, so run joke on me, we don't know football, rare, but really deep down he's like, I'll show you I know football. He's not hung up on buying names that we know about.
Okay.
He wants to bring in names that he knows can do something. And he did it at Celtic. He brought in a couple of brothers from Japan who no one knew, and they did their thing. You get me? And he's just brought a guy from Korea this week, Yang, who they reckon is the kind of replacement for Son. And if you watch his videos, he is Son-esque in his speed.
You always take it too far. He's not
ready, mate. He's not ready, but you can see he has a similar profile to Son.
He's bringing in players that reflect him, and the problem is obviously he's going into second year as Spurs coach, and he's still got to get rid of the old generation of players. I think we say old, but those before Ange essentially who don't reflect him, because you guys have changed your playing style. You've gone from that counter-attacking football, backs against the wall, to now very, very front foot football, and that even physically that's different. The mentality is that different. The tactics behind it is different. So I agree with Deji that you've changed, but you also need the players and the profiles to be able to suit that style of play. So,
100%.
No, I think as well. I agree. Like, I think a lot of the fans or fan base, they want more experienced and proven players that have done it, proven as well, not just like players that are coming outside of Europe. We want kind of players that could be in that front line that we can depend on, because a lot of the time, yes, defensively we might be open at times and we can see goals, but I don't know. Like, Preach can correct me, but it kind of reminded me slightly of maybe Klopp's first season in terms of being disjointed, in terms of like defensively pressing as a unit. Liverpool weren't always like structurally together, if that makes sense. Sometimes it looked a bit all over the place. And then when Klopp got those signings in, like the senior ones, like the Manes, etc., then it started to work a bit better because he needed players that were able to do the press from the front. Do you know what I'm saying? He needed midfielders to be able to press. He needed like Henderson, you know, with the legs that you lot are talking about. The man that's got experience, and also Hendo with his mouth. Pause. Yeah, I'm saying, bad boy for life. But yeah, he's the one that's going to be talking to the youngers and the man them say, "Yo, do this," almost like an extension of the actual coach. But on the pitch, you need a leader on the pitch. Tell them what to do. And if you got an imbalance of too many young players and not enough players that have done it, or they have like the tools to kind of at least say, look, we've been in this league, we don't need to adapt, because some of the young players we have, we don't know their physicality. Like Gray, I'll be honest, I want to see how he is physically against Bayern Munich and then against like Premiership proven players. Can he muck up? I know against Chelsea he did his thing, but
I wouldn't say we're the most physical side around, Ash, though, at the moment.
Oh, there you go. And that's my point. So, but I mean, Preach, do you agree with me? Do you see similarities between Klopp in his first season? People called it rock and roll, you know what I'm saying? It was a bit too open before you had your Van Dijks, you know what I'm saying? Before you had your settled defense in there.
That was kind of the point that I was trying to make before Mr. Box Office went crazy. Started saying I'm comparing the two teams, but it's something that I saw. In Klopp's era when it started, it was a bit everywhere. Even when Mane was there, it was everywhere. I think it kind of calmed down once when we got rid of Coutinho and got Virgil van Dijk in and Alisson. But before that, it was kind of like we'll score more than you kind of thing. You get me? So offensively, it was a bit everywhere. And then he adapted to it. And then we all know the story. So that's my kind of thing when it comes to Spurs. Like I feel like that, just have that waiting period, really see what's happening this season. Like if he doesn't adapt, if there is no plan B, then like by all means you don't should be going wild. You get me? But, if he shows a plan B, you can't be getting angry at him.
I want to quickly just. I know obviously we've all got our teams, but I want to just talk quickly about Bayern Munich, because obviously Bayern Munich, they've got a new manager. I know Harry Kane, he's looking for his first trophy. But do you guys, in your professional opinion, in your opinion, sorry, do you think that Megamind can bring them home a trophy over Xabi Alonso?
Who's the manager?
Company.
Vincent Company.
They really went for that.
Yeah.
They really went for that.
Yeah.
Seriously.
It makes sense though.
But does anyone think he could can get Bayern Munich a title in his first season doing that? Well, no, it's not really Arteta because
he's still got a great squad, and they've made some good additions. Like they've obviously added Elise as well, but it's tough, isn't it? Like Vincent Kompany isn't exactly going to set the world alight with his managerial CV. But as a player, he'll probably get instant respect, because I've heard apparently the way he addresses the dressing room, and he's just kind of got this sort of, I don't know how to describe it, but he's a natural leader.
But didn't you like the way he tried to go and Chinks? I'll let you go and I'll come.
I was gonna if you lot say that thing is Arteta's baby Pep, he's baby Arteta, baby Pep. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Junior.
Yeah. No, I'm sure he's already said this joke, but at Burnley, he used to sit down for set pieces and let the set piece manager take control. And that's not, sorry, no, thank you.
Do you know what though, Chinks? That's happening in like 90% of Premier League clubs now, and across Europe.
Burnley, though, bro.
Yeah, but it would be happening at Burnley. It would be happening at non-league level. They'll have set piece coaches in now.
No,
it's part of the modern game. It comes from that Americanization of the sport. They believe they need an expert in each area. Like, it wasn't that long ago Liverpool brought in a throwing coach, was it?
Yeah, that's the NFL kind of.
That's what I mean. That's where it comes from. They're trying to take something from other sports and add it in. Yeah. In my opinion, Cheeks, I probably agree with you. I think it probably overcomplicates things. I think as a manager, you probably want to have an influence on everything. I think getting relegated with Burnley to move to the Bayern Munich
and Dan,
to be stubborn as well in your style of play to get relegated with it.
Because Arteta brought in a dog for emotional support.
You are joking.
Oh wow! Oh wow!
Win, innit? Win the dog. No.
Sorry, Deji. Deji, you were saying sorry.
No, I don't know if he's being serious or not with that. You know.
I was just
ready. I never expected it.
I thought Company had Burnley playing some interesting football.
Yeah.
He had them. You've got to remember, these guys were under Sean Dyche.
Sorry, Deji. Sorry to gut you. Yeah. Just build on interesting for me, please. That particular word.
He tried to get them he tried to get Burnley to be possession based, and they were very attack minded. But he just didn't have the players who could deliver the goods. I think
they did deliver the goods in the Championship. They did deliver the goods in the Championship. They were
in the Championship, they did,
and that's why I have reservations over the likes of a Maresca, because I think that might be easier said than done in the Championship. But when you're opening up your team like that against opposition the level of cities, and even when you're dropping a little bit further down the league, like it's a risky game to play. And I think we saw him find out. He had a very similar approach to some other managers in the league, but with far less quality. And I think that just ultimately led to their downfall. Maybe it translates differently at Bayern Munich. I'm just not sure. I don't know. What is it? Because you feel an affinity, Ash, to Harry Kane to win his trophy? Is that what you mean? I don't know. I just.
So it is. It's just football talk. I heard a couple of people saying, "Raw, Company's he's gonna cook," but I'm not sure. Alonso, obviously, and I'm like, "Raw, I don't know. I've got question marks." So. And that would be, wouldn't that be funny if Kane doesn't get another trophy? That would be nuts in my opinion.
You know what? If he don't win nothing, he's cursed, man. I said it yesterday to Dej. I don't know actually who it was to. Was it to you, Deji? I was saying I think Harry Kane is probably one of the most selfish footballers I've ever seen. And I feel like every team he's ever been in actually is hindered for the benefit of his own self.
No, I don't think he's selfish because he stayed at Spurs, man. He could have left Spurs a while ago, man.
Yes, but what did he stay for? He stayed for his own personal gain to just put numbers up. And then England is exactly the same. It's exactly the same. It's the Harry Kane show. It's all about Harry Kane and playing around him.
Could it be for
he does his job though? Doesn't he do his job?
I think he does his job to the hindrance of the team. I actually think the team becomes worse. Bayern Munich didn't win their first Bundesliga in 10 years.
Yeah, but that's not because of Kane, though. Kane scored 50 plus goals.
He did, but Lewandowski also scored 40, 50 goals every season, but was far more of a team player and a useful player to their system.
Sorry, go on, Desh.
No, my argument would be that I actually think it's slightly different, and I didn't get to respond to you yesterday, Dan, so I'll respond here. I think Kane is that good that when players see him, they're like, you know what, we can kind of chill a bit because he can pull a goal out of nothing. And I think that's slightly different. It's not that he's saying, you got to give me the ball and I got to score. No, he's happy to drop deep, pick up the ball, thread balls left and right. But the players see someone that they know can deliver the goods. Whereas at Spurs now, we look in the front, and if Son doesn't play, we know we are completely buggered. But I think with Kane, you've got a guaranteed goal scorer, and that might just give a sense of a slight relaxation. And Tune's looking at me weird, but Isak almost has that kind of vibe going on as well at your club. Yeah, mate. Without Isak, mate, you guys are looking very suspicious.
Oh, in that aspect.
You know what I mean? So yeah.
Well, actually, our teams had about 10 plus different goal scorers. Our goals are spread across our front three. So very different to what Kane was at Tottenham, very different to what Kane is at Bayern Munich. So we weren't relying, and plus I think he was off injured a couple of times as well. So it's totally different to Isak. I don't half agree with your point in terms of maybe players feeling to half relying on him, but I agree more with Dan's point, especially if you're looking at England. He does become a hindrance, especially when he drops in. I think Bellingham is the only one that's got the cojones to say, like, what you doing here? Like, this
even Bellingham had to shift himself out to the left to
no, that's Southgate, the guy.
No, I don't think it is. I think it's Southgate sort of bending over to Harry Kane and sort of saying, like, here you go. This you take the reins here. You're the best player on the
man. I think Southgate's so tactically inept and he's so vibes and go with what everybody says. He disrupted Bellingham for Foden, and Foden had one of the worst tournaments ever. He registered no goals, no assists, playing in attacking midfield.
There's a mixture. There's a culmination of all those incompetencies that just makes it that just made England.
I'm an Arsenal fan. Kane is world class.
Thank you, bro.
There's no denying that, by the way. To score as many goals as he does, I think he is world class. But I do think that Harry Kane, there's no sort of. I know he's at Spurs for a really long time, but you had a team that was good enough to win trophies. And Harry Kane, look, I always think back to that Champions League final when Harry wasn't fit, but he had to play. And I think like Lucas went into that on fire. He just got you through with a hat trick, and he should have played. And he should have just gone, do you know what? Let's give Harry Kane 20, 30
You never watched Lucas Moura, that's why. Lucas Moura would fall on the floor every 2 seconds, bro.
So does Harry Kane wins tons of free kicks, Dej.
Smart play though, man.
I just think back to that, and I think back to England this tournament. Harry Kane was injured. He definitely wasn't 100% fit, but he wasn't going to sacrifice himself. Now, you can say Southgate all you want, but Southgate isn't going to drop Harry Kane, 1, because of his name, and 2, what he offers. But if he's not fully fit, Harry Kane needs to turn around and say, look, I'm not fully fit, Gaffer. And
no, the manager needs to do that.
The
manager needs to do that.
Arteta did it.
I would have dropped him.
What's his name? Mourinho would have. Mourinho would have.
Klopp should have sold Fabinho 2 years before he did. Klopp should have sold. Who's the other geezer that you had? Henderson 2 years before he did. Like Klopp's whole problem is Klopp should have listened to Mr. Edwards, and instead of getting Nabil Keita and got a little well-known Brazilian from Lyon called Bruno Gomes. Had Klopp done that, he would have won another league.
Yeah, he's not perfect in it, but he won a league.
Yeah, he did. I mean, he could have won more. He could have had a dynasty.
Yeah, I know, but he won something.
But he could have had a dynasty. That's the difference.
Shoulda, woulda. He does.
Now you've got Slot. Now you've got Slot, and you're arguing with Deji about what Spurs are going to do, when you could have been arguing with Mike's from Man City and contesting for a league.
We do.
We're
the only one who has stopped Pep, so we are the only one who can argue.
Nah, Conte stopped Pep as well.
Yeah, right.
Okay, then that's cool. That's cool. Then
I just got to say it weren't Pep's best team, but he did do it. So like,
no, but trust me, it's a hard task, so I respect it as well, isn't it? The point still stays the same.
And considering, you've got the best, should you not set up the team? Because Man City are set up to make Haaland prosper, and that wasn't their style of play before they got Haaland, but they shifted shit around and made it work. Shouldn't the teams do the same thing with Harry Kane?
Because Haaland doesn't really change the way City play. Haaland just fits in when the opportunity's there to arrive. He'll score. Like they haven't changed how they play for Haaland.
They have. They never played with a striker before.
Well, they did. They played with a striker in previous seasons with Pep. It was just that last season, I think, when Aguero was starting to fall off of injuries and stuff. That's true. They always had a striker. But
even then, Aguero couldn't play.
It was a different kind of striker, wasn't it? It was a strike. Haaland will play games and he'll have like very low double-digit touches of the ball and finish with like 2 goals. So they haven't really changed how they play.
But none of their forwards ever have had that.
If Harry Kane had come into Manchester City, that they would have had to change the way that they play. And I think Haaland meant that they didn't have to change the way they play.
How if they normally play with a false 9 and Kane proved in his last season that
because Harry Kane, Haaland never vacates the space that he's meant to occupy. That's why he's always there to score that many goals. And Harry Kane always vacates his space. That's why I think Son thrives so much playing with Harry Kane. 100%. Because Harry Kane vacated that space, and Son works really well on that left-sided hybrid role that's a mixture between a left winger and a striker, like Mane did, like Salah did. Those type of players,
I think that proves my point that they changed their style of play for when Haaland came in, because Haaland got way more involved in play at Dortmund than he does at City.
Yeah, so City didn't change. City didn't need him to get involved in play. They already had their players that they won the league the season before without a striker. So they just put a striker in and was like, if a chance falls to you, put it in the back of the net. And he did it 50 times.
So the guy who they had playing the striker before they got Haaland, did he have more than single load? Did that whatever touches in the game? He clearly had way more.
It would have been, but it was Raheem Sterling, I think.
Aguero was upset about that. He was saying that you got to do more. Like scoring goals is just not enough. There's more you have to do. typically they say that Pep destroys footballers. He's so efficient and so system based.
Yeah, I think Aguero is moaning about the fact that he has to run and press rather than the amount of touches that he has to take. I think if City I think I agree with Dan's point. If there is evidence that City changed their style of play, Haaland would have way more touches of the ball. It's the opposite. He's having very little. We were cussing him. How you got 2 touches? Like, this is why. If you're not having any touches, your main influence is just to hold the line.
So who previously did that for City?
Aguero obviously got a lot of injuries. I think Raheem Sterling filled in that gap.
Yeah, Sterling
ended up being a false nine.
All those guys.
Jesus, yeah.
So if I go on touches for their last season, you're telling me they're all going to have the same low amount of touches Haaland has?
I would wager that they probably had a little bit more because they are mainly like cams, attacking mids. They've got that link-up play about. That's why, hence, they were more of a false 9 type of thing. And
exactly what Haaland isn't.
Exactly what Haaland isn't. So Haaland is like the peak of what Guardiola was looking for, and so worth. Yeah. So now you've got the elite player. Now it's worth not jeopardizing, but adding this player to your system. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah. It had to be so spot on, because if they'd have gone for Harry Kane, it almost adds traffic into an area of the pitch that they've already absolutely perfected. Whereas Haaland, when they last won the league before they got Haaland, they could have won that league with 10 players on the pitch, pretty much. The 11th false player was almost like unneeded. They just had to field him. It was like, you fill a gap here because we haven't got an out-and-out striker to play in this role. But as soon as they could remove like Sterling or Jesus from that role and drop in Haaland, it's like, right, Haaland, everyone else knows exactly what they're doing. You are just going to occupy this area of the pitch. You're not involved in build-up. You don't need to have touches on the ball. Everyone's going to do everything the same as they pretty much did last season, and you are just going to finish every chance that comes to you. And that's it, right? They didn't change the way they were playing. They just had a man in there that they didn't need, and they just needed to replace him with better quality in Haaland.
Why do you think they wanted Kane? Well, why do you think Pep wanted Kane in the first place? Because he didn't want Kane originally.
Yeah, I think he did. I think they probably felt that Harry Kane would fit the system in terms of being able to play in different areas in the lines that Pep is so obsessed with, because that's how he does it. He maps out like these horizontal and vertical lines, and everyone has to be in each one at a certain time. And I think he probably felt that with Harry Kane, who can move between lines, he could have other players sort of move in behind him and occupy the space. When that didn't happen, they probably looked at it and thought, right, actually, maybe we could look at Haaland and get that deal done. Financially, it probably worked out better for City as well. I think it was at half the price that was being quoted. So I think either or would work, but I actually think in hindsight now, looking back at it, which is so easily done, they're probably way happier that they got Haaland than they got Kane, I think.
But I don't know, like, because at one point, I don't know, maybe I'm the only one that saw it, that Pep would talk to Haaland and he would kind of say to him, like, bro, I kind of want you here in this kind of area. And I saw at one point, I think it was against Arsenal, where he did pick up the ball a little bit deeper and he was kind of laying off the ball and then trying to run onto it, a bit like he was trying to say, like, this is what Kane does. I want you to learn and watch what Kane's doing, and I want you to replicate it. And then he realized that Haaland's not really that kind of guy. He's not that type of striker. And then after that, that's what I saw. I don't know if anyone else saw that. Do you know what I mean?
He just wants him to stay forward and stretch the defense. That's all.
Yeah, well, that's it. That's what's ended up happening. So maybe Ash, you're right. Maybe it was a blessing in disguise that he thought he needed one thing in Harry Kane, and actually he realised that he already had it in De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva, Foden, all those other creatives, and he actually just needed someone that they could all feed into, who was obsessed with just scoring goals and not helping out the team. Because even at Dortmund, Haaland was never a Kane. He was just fantastic in transition. Like they would win the ball in areas and he would be fantastic in transition. It wasn't about him laying the ball off and creating like Kane does. It's a sort of different role.
Just a quick point. Pep came out this week, and he said basically he thinks the players are going to be slightly tired and Man City are going to start off a little bit slower. Does anyone think that's a window? Or is it mind games, really, from early on to say, look, City always starts slow. Do you know what I mean? But is he throwing down a gauntlet to Arteta to say, look, catch me if you can? Do you know what I mean? We're going to start off slow, but we'll still win the league. or is it a chance for Arteta to say, look, let's like double down, start fast, and then maybe we could take this title of City?
He started. We've been beginning of the season, or the beginning. I say, what is it? 2/3. We've been ahead of City, so I suppose it's no great mystery. That might all be a trick to start faster. I don't know. You don't know with Pep, innit? I don't know.
Mind
Man.
games, yeah. It's mind games. With Pep, it's usually the opposite.
And you know what the worst thing is,
Mostly-
regardless. Sorry, preach. Go on.
I was gonna say he's mostly prepping the team to start fast, but he wants everyone around to think that it's gonna be a slow start, and then it was.
I don't know. Like you can come in after this, Jinx, but I've just thought maybe because, and it might not just affect City. A lot of players are coming back late from their pre-season holidays. Sorry, from their tournaments. Copa America happened. Obviously, we had the Euros. A lot of players are going to be slightly.
Even Alvarez at the Olympics, he's still playing.
But this is it, man. And so like teams aren't going to be up to full speed. Do you know what I'm saying? So could this affect the bearing of how the top 3, top 4 might look coming into the season? So is he actually like saying, not making excuses, but he's actually saying some truth?
I think he's being honest. I think we are starting to see with the added winter break that's now in the Premier League and the sort of delay that's
not this season, you know. We don't have a winter break this season, do we?
We had it last season that they take like an alternate week. So
yeah, but you lot went to Dubai, innit, and man put meat in his mouth.
But I'm saying, wow. I'm saying this season we don't have that no more, do we?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know if I can't see why they'd remove it after putting it in. But either way, I think we're starting to see the delay of like. We're starting to see the build-up of all those fixtures that we've seen played and the delay of the season and then all of these tournaments that are ongoing. I think Pep's right. I think the players genuinely are worn out. Like, they do not stop. Like, Alvarez has played so many games in a row because he came from Argentina, I think. And then I think the way their seasons blended in together, it meant that he's just continued to play so many games. So I don't think Pep's lying. I think how many players are probably like still not fully back for Man City, for Arsenal, for Chelsea, for Spurs. I don't know how it looks for everyone, but quite a few players still haven't returned from their holidays.
I mean, for Spurs, I can only talk about my team, but we've got our centre backs that have been out and they're on their holiday. They don't come back until I think it's 10 days before the season starts.
See that? What's that? Van der Ven and Romero. So Romero went the distance, and Holland went what? Semi-finals.
Yeah, pause. Yeah.
So like this is what I mean. Like there's a lot of players that they're going to be exhausted.
Yeah,
like, exactly. They're going to be weeks behind in terms of their fitness. They'll probably come back and do individual regimes to get themselves up to scratch before they can even start training with the team.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think Pep's lying. I think the lucky thing is though he's got an absolute squad to back it up with. Whereas like
I think that might be the difference. You might be right on that one. But I don't know. I'm just looking at other teams that it could affect. I don't know if Liverpool might be one because how many players you got out, Breach?
What an injury?
No, I'm just saying from like. Do you have your full squad's not there yet? You've got quite a few players out.
No,
right?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, no. We still. I think got 2 that came in today as well. But not everyone's not like
McAllister and Van Dijk definitely won't be back, based on Spurs, like Argentinian and Dutch.
Yeah,
so
right. Yeah.
There's probably quite a few. I think Chelsea got like 3 or 4 that still haven't returned.
Yeah,
Cole Palmer, Conor Gallagher, whether or not he does, but like these players still haven't. I think like even Lukaku, he only just came back today, and that's Belgium.
And also Arsenal was signing this Moreno kid. Oh, he's not a kid; he's grown, man. But wasn't he at the Euros as well? He was.
Yeah, that's why I think there's going to be such a delay in transfers as well. I think that's why it's been pretty quiet. I genuinely think like we're going to see a busy August because I think you've got the likes of 3 or 4 teams in the Prem, all with new managers. And then you've got even Arsenal, Spurs, and City, all with the same manager as the season before. But I think they're kind of waiting each other out to see what they do. It's only really Villa who have a contingency from last season that have been all over the shop, like buying players and that.
Well, you say that, but West Ham at the moment, I feel like they're in talks with Somerville. I think it's at advanced stage. Correct me if I'm wrong. I saw it from Fabrizio Romano, and they're looking at Falkirk that he was He's a player that plays for Dortmund. He was a player that played for Germany. They've been linked with him, so that's like a centre forward, a different profile to Antonio that they've got up front. So, and then on top of it as well, I think they were going to buy, is it Todibo as well as a centre back? And they're changing their style of football, so they're playing a little bit more possession based, if I'm not mistaken. And so they'll be able to play a higher line as well, a bit more front-footed. But that seems to be the trend at the moment. And most teams now that are into that top half, they want to play this kind of style of play. We had a West Ham fan on here before, and he was complaining, "Oh, I hate Moyes' ball. Defensive is boring. We don't take risks. If you look at the players we have, we've got Jarrod Bowen, we've got Kudos. Why don't we play with them on the front foot? We could do a lot more damage." And now they've got a manager in that can actually implement that style. And they've also trying to get Wan-Bissaka, so that's even 4 signings all at once. So does anyone think they could be dark horses if they play slightly higher up the pitch?
I think
dark horses, but I mean, top 8, top 6, kind of that.
Yeah, I think we're going to see an improvement in West Ham. Brighton made some really good shrewd signings as well.
Yes, they did.
And Crystal Palace. I think Crystal Palace will continue on from what it did last year. So they're going to play that more front-footed football. And actually, maybe piggybacking on what Dan was saying about maybe kind of the top 6 teams, especially who have most international players kind of away. And it might be a slower start for them. Whereas teams like West Ham, Brighton, who I'm only assuming have less international players. I'm assuming that's a big assumption, might be different. But I also got new managers, good managers, quality managers who are playing that front foot football. They might have a lot more faster start to the season. What you might see during the season is the eventual rise of cream to the top. So the quality teams, because they might have a slower start kind of or whatnot. So if that is the case, then I wonder if people like Arteta and Guardiola are looking at that and thinking how they're going to do things or whatnot. So, but yeah, interesting. It's going to be really interesting.
I think there's going to be a couple of teams and no one expects it, and there's going to be a few shock results where you normally see Man United brush through teams or Liverpool brush through teams, and there might be 1 or 2 upsets. Obviously, there's a style of manager. I think with Slot, I think he's less open than Klopp. So they may concede less. So that they might even shock people, because if you're conceding less, that means you don't have to score as much. And they don't have to smash teams 3-0 or 4-0 or 4-1 or 3-2. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that could be a style change for them that might suit. They haven't lost anyone. I know lots of fans for Liverpool might not be happy because of lack of activity and say, "Oh, are they really ambitious?" But at the same time, I think maybe what's happening is their coach may be assessing what they have on the field first before they move forward. So again, Liverpool,
it's not even a maybe. That's what he's doing, innit? He says he doesn't want until everyone's in and he's assessed the squad. So
okay, cool. There you go.
August, I think August is when it will start.
Preach, I was going to ask as a Liverpool fan, because I've seen 2 kind of arguments with that, where I've seen Liverpool fans really, really frustrated with Liverpool's lack of transfer activity, and that's putting it mildly. And there's the other side where I think you might be inferring to, where, because there is this thing that's been put out by the Liverpool higher-ups is, Mr. Slot is assessing the team. And the people are thinking, well, what do you need to assess about Mohamed Salah? What do you need to assess about Darwin Núñez? We know who these players are. And I think what they're saying, they suspect that they're just not being competitive. They're just not going out there. I mean, what's your kind of thinking with that?
I mean, I wouldn't say it's about whether they're being competitive or not. I think it's just Slot just needs to know if the players can do what he needs.
Yeah, and what he needs to complement them, innit?
Yeah, because what I've heard a lot of is that we're a lot more possession based. Like Curtis Jones is coming out saying he feels a bit more happy.
So how do you feel about that? Because they're all saying he's kind of sending shots at Klopp.
It's Curtis Jones, he's done it before. Matip, he was like, no, that was Gwent. So when he first started, he was saying, I want to be in the first team. I think Klopp should be playing me more. He's like that anyway. So it might be a little, but at the end of the day, like Slot's football is using the midfielders a lot more. Like in terms of attacking, our midfielders would bypass the midfield and like they'll run and press. Where now we're kind of using them more. Well, like we've been told we're going to be used more in the attack. So I just feel maybe Curtis Jones just feels a bit more useful, isn't it? Like getting more of a touch on the ball. Like
so
I'm saying.
Ain't that a bad mentality though? Because what Klopp was doing was very successful, and then you're more worried about yourself and making yourself look good than the team.
I don't know if Yeah, I get what you're saying, and he's just left. I think someone was going to say that at some point anyway. Maybe it's too early.
He's been honest though, isn't it? Like he understands that the team is going to be successful, but there was talks, for instance, someone like Tsimikas might enjoy slot ball a lot more because of the possession-based styles. There's some teams that will profit. Like I don't know what Dan thinks, for instance, but I would imagine that an Enzo Fernandez would enjoy a Maresca style possession football better than the Pochettino pressing, counter pressing type of football.
Everyone's supposed to say McAllister's supposed to have his bright eyes on. You get me, like
And this is probably bad for me. You see the thing with Enzo though, too. I feel like he can say some shit like that. Like, who the fuck is this Jones guy? Like, do you get what I mean? Like, who the fuck's Jones? Who you to say? Like, this is Klopp. Like, his star outshines yours by like, you know, Enzo's won the World Cup. Like, do you get what I mean?
Things can be true at the same time. Jurgen Klopp is a legend. He's won everything that needs to be done, and then at the same time, and he understands that. But they've asked him a question, and they give an honest answer. I probably play better in a possession style of football. He's not going to lie and say, well, I don't know. He can be dishonest and say, nah, I miss Klopp and whatever. But it's just not been.
Do you know what I was trying to work out with the quotes when I heard it? Is when has he played in that? He's like his whole career has been Jurgen Klopp now at Liverpool. So,
so that's what.
How is he aware that he plays better in that? So for me, I thought that was a bit of a dig. Like unless it's with the young England teams.
You see the Talk Sport, and it was just like he's only had 2 games with him. How do you know that?
But you can watch players in your similar position thinking, well, if I can do that, like you might if you know,
I think he's just taking the opportunity to get in there, in it, really, in it.
Like, there's a bit of politics in that as well.
Kind of.
You don't need another DM. You've got me.
Yeah, you know what? As well, guys, I think with Curtis Jones, there might be an argument where I think Klopp thought you want too many touches on the ball, and that's possession football. Where Klopp kind of wants 1 or 2 touches to move the ball fast, more aggressive passes into the box. That's what you want to do. Whereas Slot and your Marescas and your Peps, they want more controlled football. It might affect the way we see the Premier League as well, actually, in terms of style. We've got many similar styles.
Yeah,
it's
a case with the one difference, isn't it? Liverpool were the one team that did something different.
Now it's Spurs.
Now it's Spurs, exactly.
That's why I think.
Sorry to cut you, Dan. Ain't they doing what we used to do in our season where we finished second, the first one?
Who, Spurs?
Yeah.
Well, I don't think anything's been quite as drastic as what we've seen from Ange in a long time. I think that's the difference. I think even with, what are you saying with Arteta?
Yeah, like when you
I think Arteta, like
Zinchenko, when it was a high line.
I don't think it was quite as I call it like sacrificial football. He literally is ready to sacrifice his team defensively to just try and outscore the opponent. And I just kind of think that he's happy with that. Ash made a point that actually he was just trying to get the basics of his methodology across first, and then this season could be a little bit different. But we're yet to see that. I don't know if you've seen it in pre-season or not yet, but you know what I mean? Like,
to be fair, I haven't. But again, that's just the idea.
That could take a while though as well. And it's probably going to be like game. Ange is the type of guy that will probably have like the same sort of view as us on pre-season. They'll probably be like, don't really matter, boys. It's when as soon as the first game comes, that's when it matters. That's when it's tactical. Right now it's about minutes. It's about understanding each other, implementing new people into the dressing room. I kind of think that's where Tottenham can probably back themselves, is they're the team doing something different. And that's why the first 10 games of last season, I think, was such a shock to the Premier League that Tottenham were unbeaten.
It wasn't
until they just played Chelsea, which was a bit of a jinx, and you got a couple of injuries, that run stopped.
As well.
Listen,
yeah, exactly. Right.
He's played the football that Ange's playing here is like the top level of what Klopp was doing.
Yeah,
even and Arteta 2 seasons ago. Yeah, the different because he's playing the top level. They run out of steam like 10, 15 games in.
Yeah.
That's when they break down and have injuries.
Klopp and Arteta, they weren't doing top level, but they was playing similar. Our players steamed out as well, but later on in the season. So I'll be very shocked if Spurs is doing exactly the same thing.
Yeah,
not sustainable.
No one's done 2 seasons in a
basically. The reason why I mentioned Celtic earlier is because in the first season it was similar. They had a similar amount of injuries in his first season because it requires so much running and it's so taxing on your body with the high press, the high energy that you're not conditioned to it, and that's why you saw a lot of similar injuries in hamstrings. A lot of our players had hamstring injuries. I don't know if you guys know that.
You've got such a fast team as well, Ash. They're all like highly explosive players, aren't they? Like you probably got the fastest team in the Prem. Position, you probably do.
We've got the fastest player. Just saying.
Yeah.
Say that again. What did you say?
We've got the fastest player.
Who?
Gordon. He clocked the fastest time.
Is it
over Van der Ven? Really?
Oh, that's a good one actually.
Yeah,
I don't want to say
Van
that.
der Ven got it, didn't he?
Yeah, that might be.
It don't mean that he couldn't slow down when Isak put him on his butt.
Whoa there, buddy. Yeah, Van der Ven. Yeah. But yeah, no, I just think I think you guys make a valid point about depth. I think depth is important, and I think that's why the guys came on like youngsters. I think they were so surprised in our preseason of the quality of the youngsters that I think I would say they're hoping that the level doesn't drop off as much as some of the players that we sold recently. Like we've sold quite I think it's over 8 players we sold.
Wow.
Been in our squad, and so something similar happened again at Celtic where he got rid of over 10 players in his in that second season, in that second window that he had, and so he's now trying to implement and get the players that he wants to that can manage, in the final third, and they don't break down, and also he's keeping the core of the players that he wants that understand the philosophy for the second season, because the first season it's raw, like
it's like a test.
Can't give them too much. It'll be too much to take on. It's like trying to teach a kid to ride a bike, but then also you're trying to say, look, I need you to ride a bike and then have a
spin 2 plates. Yeah,
spin 2 plates. It's a lot. Like for a child, they need to have it bit by bit, slow. Just let them ride a bike, let them have fun, and then now put meat on the bones. I think that was the argument that Jacob and Deji were trying to put forward, but obviously
you explained it in a way that's understandable because now he knows the team a year more. And the players
obviously, on a show, I'm trying to make it a bit spicy, so I phrased it a bit different.
Well done.
I've got to do my job, what I'm trying to say.
But that's probably what Preach is probably going to experience as well with Slot early doors. Like he's probably just kind of biding his time, assess everyone, get to know everyone, implement the style slowly. I don't think it's going to be like straight away, here we go, like and elevate Liverpool to another level instantly. I don't know if I see it happening.
I agree in some ways, but they say a lot like where they keep saying they're not changing a lot. Like there's not going to be a lot of difference, like major overhaul. Like when Klopp came in and took over, we're not going to feel the change as much like that. So hopefully, I'm just hoping that they're looking at the gaps in it and then just filling it in. Like because one thing I would say about Klopp is that his loyalty to players was sometimes a downfall for us. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, he would have kept Sturridge. Like, Matip, he would have given Matip a new contract. Thiago would have got a new contract. Great players, but like the injuries, we can't afford these injury-prone players. Do you know what I'm saying? But his loyalty to them would keep them in the squad. Do you know what I'm saying? In another season. So I think it might be different. Slot, we'll see how it goes, innit? Like they keep saying, it's just all about seeing and filling in the gaps. So hopefully they're just focused on getting defensive players in and maybe like a Salah backup. But yeah, it's a lot. It's just got to see how it goes, innit? Like,
yeah, I hear it.
when I say about grace period too.
Whoa. Before you go there, hey,
loaded up the mic.
Not gonna do that, Grace.
Sorry, we was ready. Yeah,
amazing Grace. What's your thoughts on this comment here? Neto incoming to Spurs.
Spurs?
The Spurs. What are your thoughts? Is it a no-no for you guys? Do you think that's a disaster because of his injury record, or do you think that actually, like, I might respect Spurs a little bit if they got a player like him with his pace, his finishing, his playmaking abilities more so.
Quality player. Availability though, man. That's all I'm scared of.
Yeah, injury. We've just been talking about high energy, just rock and roll football and pulling hamstrings. Speaking of hamstrings, Mr. Neto, how you doing?
As well, he's pulled. He's done.
The thing is, his talent's undeniable. Had it not been for those injuries, he's an 80 to 90 million type of player. It's just the injuries, really. But the great thing about him, he can play left wing, he can play right wing. He's pretty much the assist king as well. He's going to give you 20, maximum 25 games. But those will be, they will definitely have output. You definitely have output in those games as well. But it's a real high risk. I could only imagine that Ange persuaded Mr. Levy in that. I think that's the first question Levy's going to be asking is,
he does love him.
Look at that injury record, and Ange must have really twisted his arm. So for those that say that he's not backing him, if this is true and that comes, I think there's a real big sign that he's backing him. I think actually Archie Gray was a sign, 40 million for an 18-year-old. That's as well. But Neto, that's a huge risk.
Well, one thing I want to ask, because when I looked into the injury record before the hamstrings, it was different injuries.
Yeah.
But on the hamstring injury, he injured his right hamstring first, and then when he was recovering, Gary O'Neill, he made him come back in the side, but apparently he needed a bit more rest and recovery, and he kind of rushed him back because he knows how important Neto is to Wolves, and then that's what ruptured his other hamstring because he kind of got rushed back too fast. And I'm just thinking maybe are the club looking at rotating the players a little bit more? I'm not saying Brennan Johnson is levels, but I'm saying if you start a Neto 65 minutes or 60 minutes comes, you take Neto off and you put Johnson on, does that kind of add a bit more rotation? What do you think, Dan, about that? Do you think
I kind of hear it. I think it allows Ange to keep the intensity up every single game. If they're only playing, say, 60 minutes one week and then maybe 30 the next, and all these players are incredibly quick players. Like I said, they're explosively fast, and the way they move, they're prone to injuries. And I think I could see that would be a way to move forwards. We've seen it so many times where the managers are in football for themselves. Their own sort of credibility is judged so quickly. They need results. They don't really care about a player in the long run if they can get an instant impact out of him now. And that's why we see so many players rush back for the benefit of Gary O'Neill or whoever the manager was, probably to save them from relegation. And then that means it looks good for him. But if he moved on down the line, he wouldn't care about Pedro Neto picking up another hamstring injury in that run-in. But I listened to, there was an interview years ago now. It's back in the Sturridge and Raheem Sterling days at Liverpool with Brendan Rodgers. And he spoke about how he changed Raheem Sterling's training for forever. And Raheem Sterling now has been able to absolutely maintain his injury record pretty well. He's very rarely injured now. And he was a very similar type of player. And I don't know the ins and outs exactly, but I'm sure there's probably an article somewhere of Rodgers talking about it. But yeah, they basically said he's so explosive. He needs to have days off, or he needs to have sessions away longer than anyone else because of how his body works in comparison to others. It was to do with fast twitch fibers. That's as much as I can remember on it. But they basically said that's an issue. And I don't think all clubs are doing that. I don't think they're looking after their players in the right way, especially if they're that type of player. And like I said, Spurs, you will have if you get Neto, you're going to have an abundance of players that are Like, you have pace in every single position. Your keeper's one of the quickest of his line. You've got Udogie, who's rapid. Right back, Porro's not slow. You've got midfielders that are quick in transition. You've got the fastest centre back in the league. You've got some of the fastest wingers in the league. Like, you've got a really fast team that's built for transition football. If you can rotate them around and sort of lower their intensity and allow them to sort of play more matches at smaller amounts of minutes, he's probably onto something there rather than not, because expecting them to play 38 games at that intensity, like some of you guys said already, it's just impossible.
That works until Nato gets injured, and then you're right literally.
Yeah, but then they got Brennan Johnson who can cover, or they can
that's what I mean.
Like, see Wolves preach. See Wolves, they have to play Neto every single game to ensure Premier League safety.
No, but I'm just saying in terms of like the injury and then the pressure that piles on straight on after that. So
pressure. Injuries are going to happen. But what it does is, if Neto does get injured, they've got cover in those areas to not rush him back.
Well, this is what I'm saying with the experience in it. Like, so Matip, Conte, and Gomez injury prone, players. Matip gets injured, like we're already worried. Like, now Conte's got to play extra games. That means he's going to get injured at some point because it's that pressure of once the first is it my reception.
No,
we can hear.
Okay, it's the pressure of the first injury. Like, until that first injury happens, it's like it works. But once that injury comes, it's that pressure straight
because the quality drops off from obviously Neto. You're saying if Spurs lose Neto and Johnson comes in, then basically they're back to square one. Is that what you're basically saying?
The workload. So he's also susceptible to being injured because it's going to be the high intensity is going to continue even longer as more matches, and he can get injured as well. I think is the idea behind it. Is what he's saying.
Kind of. That's where it can work. If there's no injuries, then that's like one of the best moves.
But what Dan was saying is that if you spread the minutes, you spread the load. Like Wolves were dependent on Neto. I think that's the difference.
Yeah,
where his minutes wasn't managed. That's the reason why he's injured.
I remember he's good for a season for like 1,000 minutes. Like, they can spread that 1,000 minutes across the 38 games, and they might actually be able to sustain his fitness rather than expect him to play for like 38 games and achieve 2,000 minutes, which is like unachievable for a player like Pedro Neto. Or it means that if you've got a midweek game, you don't have to play him because Brennan Johnson and Werner can share the load, or Son can move out wide. You've got so many players that can move around and be versatile. That's why you sign in players like Archie Gray, because they allow Ange to rotate the squad.
I don't know what his injury levels are like, because I get it, because Matip he could get injured in training, like in warm-ups. Do you know what I'm saying? That's how injury prone he was. So it's not even if you're playing in the minutes, he's just so injury prone that it happened in warm-ups and training. So it depends how the level.
It's what you're asking him to do though, because Matip's not a big space defender, is he? Like, do you know what I mean? And Van Dijk more is. So maybe he's like, let's say Xhaka's a fridge. There's certain things you just can't do. Like, do you know what I mean?
Hey, staying on that point, Xhaka. Let's talk about that real quick before we end the show. Xhaka said, what did he say? What did he say?
That going to Leverkusen wasn't one step back; it was 2 steps forward.
Yeah.
What do you make of that? Is that a disrespect? You think that's disrespectful what he said?
I blame us, man. He had 6 seasons being Mustafi's right-hand man in the sin bin of being trash. 1 good season, and now look how he's talking.
Wow.
I don't think do you think that's a shot at Arsenal though, or just the haters?
Well, we got caught in the crossfire. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
man. I
don't know. I feel like it's kind of like Curtis Jones' comment, just easily taken wrong again. Like,
nah, man. Xhaka still defends the fuck off. He meant what he meant, man. He meant what he meant, man.
What he's doing with that.
He don't mince his words. He knows what he's doing, man.
Still, but I do think if Xhaka stayed around, because he was involved in that season when he got second the first time around, wasn't he? Do you think if he stuck around, like, because obviously in the 6 he didn't work, but as soon as he got moved to the 8, he started to see his form upturn, and you could see how his passing, especially Leverkusen, I thought his passing was quite impressive. I was like, wow, I started to respect it a little bit more. I don't know why. But do you think if he stayed at Arsenal, that could have been a difference maker compared to, like, you know, everyone's saying Rice isn't really that progressive. Obviously, he's progressive at carrying the ball, but in terms of, like, you know, finding players in space and passing through the lines and, you know, being creative in that 8 and winning that ball high up in that area, do you think, and then maybe rotating with a Rice, do you think him being around one more season might have made a difference? Again, I look at, you know, when you lost points against West Ham, you know, you dropped points there. That could have been a difference maker, possibly. What do you think? Xhaka, yeah or no, wouldn't have made a difference?
Me personally, I think that the 3 points Newcastle stole off us was the real issue. the ball going off the pitch and Guimaraes climbing on his back. That's personally where it died down for me. Sorry.
It's my Joe Linton. Not all
sorry,
Brazilians
Joe.
are the same.
Yeah. Apologies, I was highly racist. Sorry.
Ash, I think, to touch on your point, by the way, I think Xhaka would have made a big difference.
Pause that, Dan.
Oh, yeah.
All right, Dan.
He's only new. He's only new. Sorry.
For a Chelsea game.
Like this. Bad boy.
I can't even go with another sentence here. Xhaka in that left-sided 8 has never been replaced, and I think that's why they're desperate to try and get Marino over the line, because I feel like that last season Xhaka was so good. I don't think they really... You offer a contract and he didn't feel like it was good enough or something, Chinks. There was a reason why he left, which wasn't to do with playing, I think.
Was that the reason why they started a bit slow as well, or no?
I'm not sure. I just feel like they finally fitted Xhaka in, because I think every coach that's worked with Xhaka, I think, appreciates the quality of him, but I don't think they could work it out. I think Arteta's shown he's actually taken quite a long time to sort of work out where everyone fits into his system, but when they click, they seem to thrive. I think we saw that with Havertz last season as well, is that he wasn't sure where Havertz fitted in, but I think he thought Havertz could be the Xhaka replacement, and it looked like he wasn't going to work there in that left-sided 8, so they moved him up front, then it clicked. I think he went to Bayer Leverkusen, and I think Xhaka instantly matured. I think he got Xabi Alonso in his ear, one of the greatest to ever do it, by the way, in a similar role. And then the Xhaka we saw at the Euros for Switzerland was basically managing their team. He was on the pitch, basically managing them, like on the ball, telling them to come in short and pushing them around. And I just think he's like elevated his game to another level, and we're probably seeing him now, and we're all starting to appreciate him more than we ever did in the Prem. I think we kind of viewed him as a talented player, but a liability for the majority of his career at Arsenal. And it wasn't until that last season where I think Arteta realised what he could be. And that's why I think that it's now they're spending a lot of money on Marino to try and replace the void that he's left.
And this is what I was saying. I wasn't sure if that was the reason why they tried to fit Partey in at right back, put Rice, fit them all into the midfield at the start of the season, and it didn't quite work. Partey got injured, and then they didn't really have a replacement there. And that's why I was asking the question, do you think Xhaka would have helped them with their faster start? Because they were winning games, but in terms of style of play, they didn't look the same as last season. And I questioned if that was the reason why.
Bro, Xhaka played shadow supporting striker. It was Zinchenko who stepped into the midfield and Xhaka pushed more forward.
Did you see the way Xhaka allowed Arsenal to play? What Xhaka unlocked Martinelli. Martinelli's not been the same since Xhaka left. Like, he absolutely unlocked that left side. Martinelli,
that's true.
But Zinchenko as well ain't been there.
Yeah, to be fair, I think Arsenal's left side season was so unsettled. I think that actually probably caused a lot of issues. He didn't know if it was going to be Rice there, Havertz. You didn't know who was going to be at left back. Martinelli was he injured, and then he didn't perform, and then sometimes Trossard. I think the season before that, the left side was pretty settled. Then it was unsettled, and everything else was settled. Arsenal haven't been able to get that perfect blend, whether it's due to injuries or departures. So I think Xhaka, for me, is a leader, and I think he would have helped I think back to that Fulham game for Arsenal where they had 10 men and you threw it away 2-2, I think. I think back to games like that, and I think having a Xhaka in the dressing room I think he just gets the message across that we don't lose this one, guys.
Could I float a theory at you guys as well? Because I've been watching a lot of these videos about where Calafiore fits in. Yeah, so he's when we lost Zinchenko, yeah, he's like our progressor in the middle of the park. We had to start playing Jorginho and all stuff like that. Yeah, but like they were showing like Calafiore's heat map, and he can like easily step into midfield.
That's right.
Which kind of frees up Rice a bit more, so Rice can kind of support the striker a bit more. Do you think that's kind of
okay?
Yeah. Filling in for what Xhaka did a little bit.
I've been saying this to everyone I spoke to about. Everyone's telling me Calafiore left back. I think, I don't know if there's a future for him at centre back, you know, and one of them's going to miss out, whether it be Gabriel. Obviously, there's a lot of rotation that will probably happen, but I think you're bang on. I think Declan Rice will probably become a 6, or Marino will be the 6 if you get him. But
Marino
with Calafiore being able to step into the midfield like we saw him do for Italy, it allows you to probably play 2-3 at the back as like a rest defense and have so many men push forwards. I think it's an unreal signing, and I think to say he'll be left back is
undermining.
Yeah, I think his role is going to be extremely fluid, and I think he could be instrumental to turning things like really positive for us.
He's brought him for that reason. I think that was an issue, and them not having Zinchenko progress the same way. They said, we need to address that season coming up. And I think also Moreno, the signing of him, he's another option where he's got legs and mobility and aggression as well. And he can also, his progressive passing is not too bad either. So I think he just solves a lot of issues for Arsenal. But guys, I'm going to end it there. I could talk forever about football, but we're going to end it because we've been going on for 2.5 hours. And obviously, people need to watch this back. But guys, big yourselves up. Thanks for coming on.
Big up, man.
I want to big up Dan making his debut here.
Big up, Dan, man. That was a lovely performance, man. You're definitely getting another call out.
And sorry for keeping you up so late as well, Paul.
Now, mate, do you know what, Ash? Chelsea are on tonight, aren't they? So I'm on the shift. So.
I just got the lineup. I just got the lineup for the Liverpool Arsenal game. A strong team.
Well, what's the Chelsea lineup? You know the Chelsea lineup?
Chelsea lineup's not bad, mate. It looks pretty strong, to be fair. But we've got Gooey up front, or whatever he's called. But Dewsbury Hall's making his debut.
Nice.
But you know what? It's a pretty strong team. Most of those players have played Premier League football for us last season a lot. So we have to beat Club America. If not, I think people are going to be talking about relegation.
Wow.
You know, as well, too. Are we getting that? Yeah. Seeing your dream of getting Klopp's over now, innit? Because he's retired. You can't get him.
Did he retire?
Yeah, he said he's retiring from.
Who, Klopp?
Yeah, have you heard that? I know we were saying we were ending, but Klopp's basically said, like, his coaching's probably not going to happen again for me. It'll be something else.
So his heart really was under duress?
Apparently, he did an interview. Someone contacted him the day after he left. And he was like, "Are you joking? Did you not hear what I said?" And he found it disrespectful that he didn't listen to him.
Yeah. So, boy, that's your chance, bro. Gone, bro.
For who? For Klopp?
Yeah.
For you lot too, bro. For Newcastle, bro.
Well, they won't punch in it. Don't worry about that, man. They won't punch.
We've got Eddie Howe.
We're good. Eddie.
Might be going to England. You don't know.
That could be. That's a real one. That could be happening.
I think Graham Potter's got that job. I think it's been wrapped up for a while.
I'd rather Potter there as well.
Do you reckon? Yeah.
But I just think Potter turned down too many jobs. I think you can't. If you're Graham Potter, how can you turn down Ajax? Like, that's a good move, and he said no. So and then he was like linked with Man United, but not sure. I just think he's waiting for the England job.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but guys, man. Dan, have you got anything to plug before you go?
Nah, nothing really. Just live on TikTok pretty much every day, and over on the YouTube channel is BDB Dan. But pleasure being on, Ash. Honestly, it's been a long one, but it's been a great chat.
Nice one. Team tactics. You telling me, man? Any final thoughts?
Yeah, guys, just to say, so Gordon isn't better than all of Chelsea's front three. They do have a Cole Palmer. I'll tell you, I just remembered that. Like
and Kunku as well. I think you've got.
Ooh.
Well, let's match their records in the Premier League. So yeah, guys, I'm out on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. I've got a video vlog coming out tomorrow for my trip to Hull. for our preseason game, which happened on Tuesday. Can't remember it now. So see how it goes. Obviously 1-2-0, but see my journey, see my place. And yeah, more videos coming out as well. So do look out for it, guys.
Big up Team Tactics. Chinks, any final thoughts, bro?
No, man, catch me here, man. I'll be here every Wednesday as long as you'll have me, man.
Yeah, blessing. Any things outside of the football you want to plug, or no? You good?
No, I'm good, man.
All right,
Just
man.
concentrating on it dying in this heat, man. I ain't got enough melanin for this. It's killing me.
Enough for everybody, man. It's not for everybody.
Preach.
What you telling me, man? Any final thoughts on Liverpool?
We got the gang, top 4 finish. But other than that,
No, that's disrespectful, too. That is disrespectful.
I don't know why he's laughing.
Hey, end the show. End the show.
I don't know why you're laughing.
Hey, big up the chat, though. Big up the chat. Everyone in
Trophy. And a trophy.
These men are trolling still. I don't know. But yeah, man, big up the chat each and every time, man. Yeah, love for the love. And we're back again, same time.
This is on the internet. This is on the internet. I'm gonna screen record this moment. End of the season. I'm going to be showing it to you, my friend.
Hey, love for the love, man. Hey,
add Dan to the group. Add Dan to the group, man. We need a Chelsea Donny to represent.
If he wants it, I don't know.
Yeah, put me in, mate. Put me in.
Yeah, there's a lot more this year. There's a lot more.
We haven't got a Chelsea guys. We are a guy, man. Still, all right. But yeah, man, big up and come on, you Spurs.